do when you get there. Freedom to make things possible is what I love most about this business. Right in the middle of the whole COVID thing, my wife Deanna and I had our 20th anniversary. Well, a big party was out of the question, right, Bob?
Not possible, Rick.
But one thing made all the difference. Our camping trailer out near Seba Beach. It's a very mature campsite, heavily wooded, lots of privacy, full hookups. So what did we do? Had our own party. Hired a caterer, decorations, dinner, candlelight, campfire. 20 years. That's a long time to put up with me. And our trailer? Well, I have to confess, it's a really nice one. Bought it used.
No surprise there, Rick.
Freedom means possibilities, and that's what life is all about. So thanks, Deanna. Here's to the next 20 years.
And that's Noble.
NobleRV.ca.
Sports radio is back.
McDavid trying to come in with speed. Here he comes. McDavid shoots. Top shelf. He scores. The Oilers captain with the overtime winner.
The Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
He actually can't find anyone. Looking to take off their run. Bounces away. Still surveying. Still alive. Going end zone. Caught for a touchdown. Nelson Aguilar.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Instead, it's 1-1. It's on the line. Left field. It's gone. Adolis Garcia makes his statement. And the Rangers have their sights set on Game 7.
The teachers and band, hear the witches and slam in the back of my take you there. Hear the teachers and band, hear the witches and slam in the back of my take you there. Dead I am, the pool's ready from the full weekend. Want you need nowhere as you bleed. Dead I am, the rat feast upon the cat.
Well, welcome to the Wednesday edition of the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440, coming to you live. Oilers Nation YouTube, presented by PlayAlberta.ca, where last night, of course, 16 games in the National Hockey League, a Game 7 that saw the road team win again in Major Leagues of Baseball. It's a busy night. There was no line on the amount of tears of frustration you would have, and also no winner for Lotto Max. So guess what? Friday's Lotto Max draw, $50 million and 2 Max Millions. Get your tickets at PlayAlberta.ca. Well, good news, Oiler fans. It was a record-tying night last night for your team. Yeah, that's right. They tied the NHL record for most too many men on the ice penalty in one game. Is it a record that you want? No. But it's a record that you now have. The Oilers, last team to do it was the Phoenix Coyotes in 2011-2012 season. It happened in January of 2012. And actually, the Oilers are the first team to ever do it in the month of October. It's happened in November and December and January. Never in March, February, and now October. So, yeah, it was, oh my goodness. How do you describe last night's game? It started okay, right? The Oilers get the first goal to get it early. And then they had a 5-on-3 power play where I think the one error was they kept feeding it to Evander Kane, who had a really good game, but Evander Kane's not a great passer at the NHL level, right? In the real life, sure. But compared to guys like Nugent Hopkins, Draisaitl, McDavid, I wouldn't want him as the distributor down low on the 5-on-3. That's really where they miss McDavid. But the Oilers, it's 3-2, and they're up. And, they score early in the second. Warren Fogle, second of the game. And then Jack Campbell stands on his head because make no mistake, the Oilers were leading 3-2 after 40 minutes. They weren't deserving to be leading 3-2, but they were. And that's what your goalie has to do sometimes. But when you continually allow the opposition prime quality chances, shift after shift after shift, guess what? Eventually, the dam's going to break. And Jack Campbell, I didn't like that Hartman goal in the third period, no question. After the Oilers, when Kane's deflection made it 5-4, they're close and they come back. Bouchard's pinch at the blue line. Well, it's not even a pinch. I'm not really sure what he's doing there. Caught in no man's land. It was like the easiest out ever. And then they come down the ice, and Hartman, you know what? Yeah, he fanned on it, right? So Campbell thought it was coming faster. You're going to make the play. It's like a change-up. And we've seen guys, major league batters, whiff on change-ups all the time. So, it's not ideal, but I was game over. And the Edmonton Oilers, what the blank is happening in the third period for this team? How can they be this bad in the third period? Last night, game 6, was the first third period goal they've scored all season. And it came on a power play. I don't understand it. The Oilers are second in first period goals. So bad starts really aren't the Oilers. It's not a major issue for them. They know how to score in the first period. Now, I know 4 of them came in Nashville, but still, you look, their first periods have been good. And then it just progressively gets worse. They've been outscored now 10-1 in the third period. 10-1. And in a lot of the games, the 10-1 is reflective of how the game has gone. We keep hearing Jay Woodcroft talk about, well, it's not up to our standard. Do you know what your standard is? That's my question. What's the standard? Clearly, they don't know what it is, because at minimum, in 4 of the 6 games, they have played below their standards. Last night, for sure. Philadelphia, 100%. Game 1, yep. I would argue the Nashville game, I know they scored 6 goals. And Jack Campbell, so I guess that was above their standards. Like, well, we'll rely on our goalie standing on his head. Like, the only win they have this year was when their goalie made 42 saves. Yes, they scored 6 goals. They gave up a lot. They continue to give up quality chance after quality chance. And the only guy who's kind of been immune to it is Leon Draisaitl. You look at Leon Draisaitl's numbers at 5-on-5. On this team, they're remarkable compared to everybody else. But they've got some guys like Evan Bouchard last night. First of all, you know what? It's almost like some of their defensemen are immune to boxing out, or they're like, whatever you do, guys, don't box out. Like even Matthias Ekholm on that second goal. Now, I don't love, although it hits a guy up high, it's kind of hard to control it off of your chest, right? I think Campbell tried to absorb it off his chest. It drops down. But if you're boxing out the player, which you should be, then that rebound doesn't go in that easily. At least there's more of a battle towards it. So we'll talk about that on the show today. We're going to talk about the Oilers through the neutral zone. You might as well put them in those bright orange jackets that people on the road, when you go through a construction zone, lots of the GS construction people, they're out there. Guess what they got? They got the red little jersey on. Well, it's the vest. And they're waving you through. Come on, keep going. Come on, come through. Well, that's what the Oilers might as well be wearing in the neutral zone. Because it is just, is this a freeway? Speed right up here. No problem. Gain the zone with speed. Create a great good chance off the rush. Game after game after game. All right? So I don't know what the system is. I don't know what the standard is. But either way, it ain't good. Now, if they want to continue to play 4 in a box, all right. And it's almost like you can't say the players can't play it because against Winnipeg, they're pretty decent 5-on-5. Winnipeg didn't score a goal 5-on-5 in that game, and it wasn't like Skinner was bombarded like Campbell was last night. They did a pretty good job of not giving up too many quality chances. Of course, you're going to give up some. It's the NHL. I get it. The other team's got some good players. But the Oilers giving up quality chances off the rush. Last night, they got absolutely destroyed off the cycle as well. But slot shots, like if there was one thing you'd want to prevent, it would be slot shots. Give them the outside. But right now, it's like, oh, here's the soft underbelly. Why don't you just go there? We're not going to make you pay the price. I don't understand it. And we'll hear from Jay Woodcroft. Unfortunately, the press conference was too late for me to do it and then get to the station in time today. But plus I had a previous meeting. But anyway, I want to know how continually because even in the game they beat Nashville, look at how many slot shots, look at how many high danger chances they had. Way too many. So even in the lone victory, it's been an issue. There's no miracle cure here for the Edmonton Oilers. There's not some magical trade that they can make tomorrow that's going to solve the woes of this team. Because I'm telling you, one player can't do it. Collectively as a group, they need to wake up. Coaching staff has to coach better. Players have to play better. Goalies have to save better. Defenders need to defend better. Forwards, maybe slow down the opposition in the neutral zone. I don't know. Get in a lane. But last night, the third period, and really the second half of the second period, like Jack Campbell made 5, to quote Rod Phillips, stupendous saves. It was ugly. And look, now they got the Rangers coming to town. What makes you believe that tomorrow night could be any different? Now, hey, they looked like a better team against Winnipeg, but they lost. And maybe it's just because it's Minnesota. Because what did we say yesterday in the show? They can't win in Minnesota. The Oilers can't lose against Nashville. They can't beat Minnesota. They just can't. Right? They're one of their last 10 games, home and away against Minnesota. They can't beat them. So that's what they got to hope. But my goodness, you're now 1-4-1. It sounds crazy, but by the end of October, first place in the division might not even be an option as Vegas just continues to win. It's crazy that you could be that far behind this early in a season. So I look at the Oilers. You know what? There's no one immune here. It's not, oh, fire the coach. That cures everything. Are you kidding me? I don't care what system the coach puts in play. The players can play it better. Even if I don't love the system, they can at least play it better than they've played, or a hell of a lot more consistent. So, you know what? You want to get rid of the coach, you want to fire the coach, great. That's not solving your issue. Okay, it's not. This team needs to nut up, show they want to compete nightly, shiftly in the National Hockey League. It's that simple. Do you think their competitive level matched that of Minnesota's last night? No, doesn't mean they didn't work hard, but Minnesota outworked them at key times in the game. And they outworked them mentally, no question. Because the Oilers continue to make some bad errors. Like, hey, if Evan Bouchard's going to make a wrong read because he's more of an offensive-minded defenseman, I'll live with it. But this is 3 goals now where Evan Bouchard, what's his best skill set? Handling the puck. Not 3 times this year, directly from Bouchard, not being able to handle the puck, goals come in. Not a lack of boxing a guy out, not a lack of physicality, a lack of simply handling the puck. And if he can't handle the puck, now you got a real issue. So he's got to bear down. Right? Every little play matters. That's what you learn about the playoffs. Every shift matters. You know what? I don't care if you're not going to perfectly make the right pass every time. Handle the puck, and if you have to put it off the boards and out and it's an icing, so what? But, and the head coach, you have 7 defensemen. At some point, is there anyone other than the 6-7 defensemen and fourth-line wingers who ever have to miss a shift? Like, ever? Is that not allowed? I coach U11. Trust me. I never bench any player. It's U11. Everybody plays. We don't have a set power play. We don't have a set penalty kill because it's U11 and everybody plays. This is not U11. This is the NHL. It's your job. And some days, if you don't have your job, others get to play more. It's that simple. But at some point, it's got to be a little bit more tough love here, I would think, from the coach. You can't just continue. Oh, hey, guess no problem. You get right back out there. You know, try to live up to our standard. Well, they're not living up to the standard. Last night, that third period was one of the ugliest periods. And really, think about it. 3 too many men on the ice penalty. And they could have had more. Like, my goodness. It's like you have grown hockey players who have played this for a living who all of a sudden are like, I don't know who's going. When am I supposed to go? How is that possible? And the thing was, like, it's not like, you know, you look at certain too many men in the ice penalties, you're like, geez, that's kind of a chintzy call by the ref. Right? Or you're going to the bench, the puck takes a ricochet, and suddenly it accidentally hits your skate, and oh, God, now I got a penalty. Right? No. Those you can kind of live with. Connor Halley, last night, those many men on the ice penalty were 100% well-deserved every time, and they could have had a few more even.
Yeah, I mean, it really makes you wonder, like, what is the level of focus, readiness for this game when you can't complete the simplest of tasks? Obviously, we know there's going to be mistakes. There's going to be breakdowns. It's the highest level of hockey in the world. Those things will happen. But when the little things mix in like that, Gregor, it really starts to make you wonder, you know, the preparation, how focused are you on the game? If you can't complete the simplest of tasks of knowing when or when not to hop over the boards, what more are you going to struggle with? And it's just those little mistakes that they just pile up for the Edmonton Oilers, things that we haven't seen in a long time. Like I was talking to some people saying, I remember the Oilers being this sloppy defensively, but it was pre-Woodcroft towards the end of Dave Tippett's run. There was a game against the Florida Panthers specifically where it was just terrible defending in their own end. And those bad habits have crept back into the Oilers game. And I don't know if it's lack of preparation, if it's starting to believe the offseason hype or what it is, but you got to figure it out because, like you said, Vegas is starting to pull away. Other teams are going to start to do so as well. And if they keep this up, you know, right now we can say it's only 6 games, but how long before we get to game 15, game 20? And if they're still doing these little things, Gregor, they're going to be in a lot of trouble.
Oh, yeah. So awful. On the show today, we got lots to talk about the orders. Also, we'll get to Who Is It Wednesday. A little tip for you. A little hint for Who Is It Wednesday. That's coming up momentarily. We will have Louis DeBrusque is going to join us right away. You know, former player, of course, ace analyst for Rogers Sportsnet. Just get his thoughts on, like, how can you be this soft in your own zone in the slot? How can the opposition just continually gets chances from there? Like, this isn't a 1-game thing. We're talking 6 games. 6 games. So, a big issue. So, hear from him. Yaremchuk will be by. Spec Mike Rupp will join us. Break down the night. How was it in the States? I know a lot of Canadians that get to watch it, unfortunately, the hockey frenzy. But it seemed like it was a success. Quite a few people liked it. Obviously, I think the Canadian fans would say, hey, yeah, that'd be great. Maybe we could watch it next time, and I totally understand that. So we'll touch on that. Also, we will hear from Mark Spector and more on a busy Wednesday edition of the Jason Gregor Show. Got a lot of texts. You can text us 833-401-1440 in our Jiffy Lube inbox. Who Is It Wednesday? This is a gentleman who, of course, has a championship ring He has played professional in 2 different leagues. He's a multiple-time All-Star in his leagues. Well, in 1 league, he was. We'll give you a few more hints later. We'll come back. Louis DeBrusque. The Gregor Show on Sports 1440 live on Oilers Nation YouTube.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is the #1 place for people who want heating and cooling, because you'll save a bundle and get both with a heat pump. Then you can use hot, cold. Come on, thermostat, do what you're told. Turn up the heat, turn up the cold, so the vents start pushing out tornadoes. Time for a heat pump, bring it to me! Gonna get a deal from Legacy! Your heat pump from Legacy will heat and cool while saving you a bundle in energy costs. Plus, you'll get a rebate up to $5,000 and no payments, no interest for 1 year. Legacy Heating and Cooling.
At The Brick, we're not just proud of this city and its rich sports history. We're proud partners of it. The Brick started right here in Edmonton over 50 years ago. And when we're not cheering on the Oilers and Oil Kings live at the game, or the Edmonton Elks under the bright stadium lights, we're in our stores, providing everything you need to cheer them on in your home. The Brick, supporting Edmonton sports teams and fans since 1971, saving you more.
Building or renovating, you want to work with someone who sees and understands your vision. BIE Engineering is a family-owned, experienced structural engineering consulting firm serving commercial and residential clients in Edmonton and surrounding area. Homeowner or large company, they'll work with you to help see your ideas through. BIE Engineering can help prevent problems, deliver solutions, and minimize your risk. BIE Engineering. Request a quote for your project today. Visit bieeng.com.
How exciting is it to have Sports Talk Radio back in Edmonton?
Tie game, bottom of the ninth with a full count. The kick, the pitch. It's high, it's far, it is gone! Walk-off home run!
Yeah, it's pretty much like that. Edmonton Kubota is excited to welcome back Sports Talk Radio, Sports 1440. We'll be dialed in for every minute. Get it done, and then some, at Edmonton Kubota. All compact BX tractors on sale with 0% financing for 84 months. Stop by on 128th Ave or visit edmontonkubota.com.
Any team looking to trade up is wise to wait for the right conditions. Right now at Volvo Cars Edmonton, they've got some exceptional offers to help move the remaining 2023 inventory. So whether your team wants to head to the game in the sporty XC60 or the spacious XC90, you'll get up to $5,000 off or finance rates from 2.49%. Volvo Cars Edmonton is Canada's only 12-time Volvo Excellence Award winner. Visit 1205 101st Street Southwest or chat online at volvocarsedmonton.com.
Hey everyone, it's Kelly here from United Sport and Cycle. United's annual Hockey Days sale is on now. Save up to 20% off on skates, 25% off on equipment, and 35% off on all Pro Stock sticks. United Sport and Cycle, your home of hockey for over 95 years.
Storm chasing sounds exciting. Most days, though, it's a lot of standing in the rain. But you know what's exciting and dry? PlayAlberta.ca, with hundreds of new live tables, online casino games, and instants.
PlayAlberta.ca. Go all in on excitement. Sign up today with promo code Casino50 and get a $50 welcome bonus. Remember, if you gamble, use your game sense.
When Ottawa's proposed electricity regulations make electricity unaffordable, you may have to make some hard choices.
Winter boots for my kids.
Groceries for my family.
Our mortgage.
My rent. Braces.
A rainy day fund.
Visit tellthefeds.ca to learn why your power bill could be 4 times higher than today. And tell the feds, affordable and reliable electricity matters. A message from the Government of Alberta.
Noah for Medicine Hat writes, Dear Canadian Tire, it's time for upgrades around the house and some upgrades in my toolbox. Any recos? The right tools make all the difference. Cliche, I know, but I once tried to hang curtains without a stud finder. Swiss cheese walls. That's why Canadian Tire carries a wide selection of the tools you need, from brands like Mastercraft, Maximum, DeWalt, Bosch, and Stanley. Get everything you need for fall home maintenance at Canada's store. Visit CanadianTire.ca or the flyer for our top deals this week.
Hey sports fans, we've got a clear choice for you. At Crystal Glass, we provide customers with the perfect glass for any job. From home to auto and even commercial, installation or repairs, we're your team. Call 310 Glass or visit crystalglass.ca. Crystal Glass.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Mr. Rooter Plumbing. At Mr. Rooter, they only employ the finest organic, grain-fed, free-range plumbers. For all your plumbing needs, go to mrrooter.ca.
Sports Radio is back. The Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
.224 as we continue on Wednesday afternoon, the Gregor Show, Sports 1440, live in Oilers Nation, coming to you from the Ewell studio. Geez, you know what? Might have to get the gents and the ladies from Ewell. Set a little spark. Oilers, of course, for all your electrical needs. Think EWEL, but who knows? Might have to set a little shock to the blue and orange. Get them going because right now, not a lot going for the Edmonton Oilers. Ooh, mama. Last night was not good. As we get to our big guest of the day now, brought to you by the Spruce Grove Saints. They're in action tonight. Want to go see some? Hey, there's a team that's rolling. You're not happy with your hockey viewing lately? Well, get down to the Grand Fear Arena. Check out the Saints tonight, and pretty good chance they could win, taking on the Kodiaks. SpruceGroveSaints.ca. Get your tickets online or at the door, as we are joined by Sportsnet analyst Louis DeBrusque. Big man, Louis, welcome back to the show. How are you?
I'm doing well, Jay. How are you doing today? That was my song I came on to there.
I know, eh?
It's funny. Every time I hear that song, it brings me right back to the long fight I had with Marty McSorley at center ice. And in the dying moments of that fight, when I was literally gassed and I was exhausted, I could hear that song playing because they used to play it in the old Coliseum there. And I was begging for the Zebras to get in there and break it up. Please come in, linesman, and help me here because I was done. But that's funny. As soon as you played that, I started thinking about that and laughing because, yeah, she used to play it when I was fighting, which is kind of crazy, but pretty cool at the same time.
Oh, it's awesome. Yeah, that's the con man. He knows all the good music that fits in, so I love it. Now, that brings back good memories. Thinking back to last night does not bring back good memories for the Oilers or their fans. And I got to ask you, Lou, you played a lot of hockey. Can you explain to me what is their defensive structure right now? Because the thing I don't understand is that it's just like, oh, it's like a welcome mat for slot shots. It shouldn't be, but that's what it is. So are they not like, do they not understand the system? Are they not doing it? What are you seeing? What's the breakdowns defensively?
Well, you know what? Listen, when you talk to the players, they seem to think they know what they're trying to do. It's about doing it all on the same page and doing it together and having communication. And that's a word that's been thrown around a little bit too, is miscommunication, not in sync. I know Ryan Nugent-Hopkins has talked about that. For me, it doesn't matter what system you're playing, though, Jay. Whether you want to play man-on-man, you want to play a zone system, you want to play a hybrid of both of those systems and have your own tweaks, whatever it is. For me, you have to protect the front of your net. Simple as that. And they are not doing it. And we've talked about it. We've showed it in replays. It's one of those things where I think they're thinking a little too much. I really do. And we talk about this with young players about coming into the game, and sometimes they're overthinking. Sometimes they're trying to do too much. It seems like everybody involved right now is thinking a little bit too much and not acting. And we have had this conversation over the years with this team before about many players in the area of someone that's dangerous, but nobody's taking that said player. And last night, the one goal for me was, the Eriksson Ek goal. I mean, there was 3 players in position to somebody take that player and make sure they were there, aware of them, and be a defensive stronghold. And everybody moved up. And Nugent-Hopkins and Darnell Nurse was on the ice. I mean, these are guys that absolutely know what they're doing on the ice. And he's in behind. Puck goes down to him. He makes a great move. Give him credit. He makes a backhand forehand, tucks it upstairs. But at the same time, I just don't even think he should have been alone there. I don't think he should have had any time at all that close to the net. And that's, if you look over the course of this year, and I started going through the even strength goals, shorthanded even strength, that's 4 and 4, 3-on-3. I think it's up to around 14 goals that are within 8 feet of the net, 8 to 10 feet of the net. And that's just too many. That's too many. That's an area of the ice they just have to clean up. They have to get harder, and they have to make it a difficult place to go to. and they're not right now, and teams are feasting on them. Listen, they scored 4 goals last night, and that should be enough to win a hockey game in this league. And that's something they've always talked about. They want to make sure their goals against are down. And for whatever reason, they're just not in sync with the new system they're trying to work right now. It's not catching on. There's been little stretches of it where I think it's been really good. And that's the thing. It's about doing it over the course of a whole hockey game. You can't just do it for 10 minutes in a period and then back off for 5 minutes because it's costing them. And right now, any mistakes they make are costing them. And that's just the way things are going right now for Edmonton.
Well, and to me, like when I compare the Winnipeg game to the Minnesota game, that's where I look and say it can't just be the system, because clearly they knew how to do it.
I thought they were really good in that game too, Jay. I did. I thought the 2 Saturday games they played at home were their 2 best games of the season by far. Yeah. Not even close. And you know what? Listen, they didn't win either of them. And that's just how hockey goes sometimes. But I thought you're right. I thought they were in sync. They were skating. They were acting. They were just in the moment. And I wish I could put a finger on it. I tell you, I've called all the games and I've watched them and I've watched the replays and I've looked at it again. And it's just mental lapses where you're not paying attention. You're not taking a look behind you. There's no awareness of where the danger is. And teams right now are funneling to the middle of the net. They're really urgent to get there. And they are getting there. Now, on the flip side, Edmonton is a hardworking team. And I know that the players have talked about this, and I agree with them. When they're in the offensive zone, they are grinding to get to the front of the net. They have to battle through bodies and sticks and grabbing and a wall of a stick that's put up in a cross-checking motion. And if you look, they still get in there. The Hymans and the Canes and McDavids and Dreisaitl's and all the guys. These guys are getting there. They're getting to the spots. But every loose puck up for grabs is an absolute battle. And you have to win those battles even to get a decent chance. They're giving up way too many grade A's. So it's the flip side, right? So you have to kind of look in the mirror and say, okay, listen, teams are making it really difficult on us to go out there and get a chance. And they have to start looking in the mirror and saying, we have to make it way more difficult for teams to get chances in front of our net. It's literally just buckling down and having that urgency around the goaltender. Because I thought they did not play well in front of a guy last night, and in the second period was all world. I thought and that's where it started. Listen, you can talk all you want about the third period, but it started to build throughout that game. The starts of both periods, the first and second, were great. I thought Fogle really had a game. But again, they got dashed as well, that line, because once they got hemmed in their own zone, they just weren't protecting the front of their net.
Louis DeBrusk from Rogers Sportsnet joins us. And like box out, I look at, the first goal, Bouchard stands there, get a stick on a guy, can't deflect it. The second goal, I get that it's a rebound. It's up high in the chest. It's hard to control.
2 guys standing right
exactly.
There.
Ekholm's been in the league for over a decade. He's a big, strong body. He's not boxing out a guy.
And I got to tell you, and listen, he's still coming along. I mean, he's not making excuses. I talked to him yesterday. He's coming. He's getting more ice time every game. It's veteran players right now, too. It's guys that you wouldn't expect to make these mistakes. It's the entire team. I'm not putting this on anybody. I know Bouchard's had some tough nights. He has. Every time that guy bobbles the puck right now, it's in the back of the net. He's got the Holloway syndrome from the start of last year. Anything he does wrong is going to show up on the score sheet. And sometimes that's just the groove that you're in. He's doing things offensively. He's producing, shooting the puck in the power play. Love to see that. But man, oh man, when he bobbles that puck and he's not hard in his defensive zone, he's getting punished for it. But I'm not pointing him out in particular. I'm pointing the whole team out. Everybody, to a man, especially in their own zone, have to battle a little bit harder and make it more difficult in the opposition because they're having their way.
So, Louis, to me, I know everybody's, it's the coach, it's a system. I disagree. I don't maybe love the system, but as you said, I don't care what system you play. There's no system out there that says, hey, just leave the front of the net wide open. I don't care what it is. So you got to play it better. But to me, at some point, and I know it's early in a season, but at the same time, you're 1-4-1. And you know what? Outside of, 2 games, in the other 4 games, you've been pretty atrocious defensively. At some point, doesn't the head coach, got to send a message? Somebody sits down a shift or 2 or something. Like, it just seems like it doesn't matter how many mistakes you make. They just keep putting out the same guys for the same minutes.
I think he's made a couple statements. I think Evander Kane being knocked down the lineup, trying to spread that out. Obviously, he responded to that, and good for him. I know he had words, didn't like the fact that he wasn't playing, and I don't think I'd want anybody not happy that they're not playing. But yeah, I mean, that's the one currency that a coach has, no question about it. You can start to take that away. I really think he's just hoping they work through it. For me, and you mentioned something there, Jay, that had stood out for me. I would say, with the exception of 2 games, and that's the 2 Saturday games that I've talked about, and even the 6-1 win in Nashville, they were not the faster team.
No.
They didn't play the faster team. They weren't playing, moving the puck, letting the puck do the work for them, in sync, supporting, where it looks like things were happening quickly for them. The 4 games, other than the 2 Saturday night games, they were the slower of the 2 teams. And we didn't see that a lot last year. This is a fast team that plays quick when they're going. So for me, there's something lost in translation here. And I know that nobody really wants to talk about it. I understand it's a work in progress, and they're going over it in practice. They have it in video. It's about executing it on the ice, and they're not executing it right now. When they do in stretches, they put teams on their heels. I mean, the starts of both first and second period last night, it could have easily been 4-5-0 for Edmonton with the power plays they gained in that first period from putting the pressure on Minnesota. It didn't happen. But they just can't seem to maintain that for any length of time. And consistently in games. Like I said, the 2 Saturday games, I have to tip my hat. Those are the 2 best games, and they came out with 1 point. And that's tough. But the other games they lost, the other team looked much faster. They were hungrier. They were more urgent. And I honestly think it's mental. I really do. I think they have to mentally get more involved in the game, be ready, and just go out there and compete. Just compete. And it's always an uphill battle when you're trying to transition into a different system, when you're trying to figure out new things. You just have to go out there and compete. But the one thing you can always do is just buckle down and make sure that you're making it really difficult for the opposition anywhere around your net. That's urgency in the feet, urgency in the mind.
And when you mention that they've looked slower, I don't think the Oilers are a slower team overall.
No, that's why I'm saying it's surprising to me.
Yeah, and that's disappointing. And that, to me, sure, you can play fast when you're making passes and they're crisp and away you go. And as you alluded to earlier, you're reacting, you're not just thinking. So if you're not practicing often, Louis, because, the Oilers didn't practice today, right? They got a morning skate, and you're not going to, have a high energy morning skate. So is it they got to just hope to get through this New York game, because then they have 2 days between games and they play once and they have 3 games, and then they can hope that they can have a reset hard practice on that Monday and Tuesday the following week?
Absolutely. And I really do think that it's repetitions. It's just doing things over and over. There's a reason why you see teams do the same drills all the time. They're building habits. They're building an identity. And they do the same thing in Edmonton. There's a lot of things they do a lot of. They do change the drills, but the principles are the same. And I just think, you just have to continue to keep buckling down and working until it becomes second nature. And we talk about that all the time. You do something that's uncomfortable enough times, it becomes comfortable. It just becomes what you do. And that's where they're trying to get to right now. They haven't got there. They obviously have not got there.
No.
And you can see the frustration. I mean, listen, these guys want to win every single game, every single battle. It's not happening, and you can see the frustration in their eyes. You can see the frustration in their body language. And you have to reset, get prepared for the next game. It's the greatest thing about the game is that there's 82 of these in a season. There's 82 games. So when you have a tough game like they did last night, you regroup, and you've got another opponent coming in here Thursday that's going to be hungry as well, and a very good team. And sometimes that's what it takes. I honestly thought the Winnipeg game was going to be that stepping stone for them. I really thought that was a playoff atmosphere game. It was amazing. It was great to be down at the bench and watch the pace of that game. But it took a toll. It took a toll on the team. I mean, those are games that were hard fought, but that's where you dig in. That's the kind of limit you're trying to get to. And you're trying to put that standard up there that you can start to repeat over and over again. The good teams in the league, Jay, they have a standard they play to, but when they're panicked, they manage the game really well. And I thought throughout this season, especially last night, it was glaring. Edmonton just got a little bit up the ice a little bit too far at times. They just left their zone a little bit too eagerly, a little turnover. Now you're coming back. You're trying to find your positions off the cycle, a little too eager to get up into the middle. You saw the 3 players I talked about on that Eriksson Ek goal. And, it's that tiny little lapse. You give skilled players a chance. I mean, Edmonton does it to teams all the time. You allow one of the top players to have that chance and tight around the net. More often than not, it's going in the net. And they do it all the time. Right now it's happening to them, and they just have to shore that up. They really do. They have to get it in control and in control quickly.
Louis, we'll see what's in store quickly. Tomorrow night, of course, there's the game, but there's also a huge honor for Doug Waite and Charlie Huddy.
I'm excited for it. Two great guys, two amazing Oilers, and two of the best guys around as well. So it'll be an amazing night seeing both of those get honored and having their names go up. And rightfully so, Jay. Two of the great Oilers.
Do you have a favorite Doug Waite memory?
God, he had one of the quickest wits. He does have one of the quickest wits you're ever going to see in a guy. Always quick to say something, be involved. The first time that I actually met Doug Waite, I was driving from London, Ontario, all the way to New York for training camp. I drove in, I was late, like 11:30, 12 o'clock. I got into the hotel the night before training camp started up. And I kind of came bursting through the door. And he always tells the story that he was dead asleep. He got woken up, me busting through the door. And here I am, this long-haired big guy that comes into his room. He's a college kid. And he's like, oh, my God, who is this guy? But one of the best guys. Love playing with Dougie. He's one of those guys that kind of had a beat on everything that was going on in the room and always had something to say about it.
Louis, thanks for your time, my man. We'll see you at the rink tomorrow.
Okay, sounds good, bud.
That's Louis DeBrusk from Rogers Sportsnet. So, as you said, it doesn't matter what system you're playing. There is no system that says don't protect the front of your net. None. Not one. And you know what? You got way too many players making wrong decisions at key times in the game. Many. And it's easy to want to just blame the coach. I don't buy it. I might not love the system, but the system doesn't say, hey, let's just gift chance after chance off the rush. Let's gift chance in the slot. Like we said, they played the exact same system against Winnipeg that they did in Minnesota. Are you telling me you're sure it's just the system? I think that's a little naive. 240. That was our big guest, brought to you by the Spruce Grove Saints. So we'll get more. We got a lot of texts to get to. 833-401-1440. Remember, also coming up at around 420 today, your chance to qualify and help your neighbor, where you can gift someone a brand new high-efficiency furnace from Legacy Heating. That's coming up at 420 today. And got a sweet pair of seats for the Doug Waite, Charlie Huddy Hall of Fame induction tomorrow. We'll give those away before 6 o'clock as well. It's the Gregor Show on Sports 1440, live on Owners Nation YouTube, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Mr. Rooter meets a zombie.
Ooh, what a spooky old place. Hello? Did someone call a plumber? It's hideous. Stay back, monster.
I was saying drains. Yeah, I have clogged drains.
Oh, of course. I can fix those. And may I say how nice your tattered clothes look?
Never undead, always unclogged. Trust Mr. Rooter.
At The Brick, we're not just proud of this city and its rich sports history. We're proud partners of it. The Brick started right here in Edmonton over 50 years ago. And when we're not cheering on the Oilers and Oil Kings live at the game, or the Edmonton Elks under the bright stadium lights, we're in our stores, providing everything you need to cheer them on in your home. The Brick, supporting Edmonton sports teams and fans since 1971, saving you more.
You've got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need. Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939. We're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
That's awesome. Thanks, Franco. You're a lifesaver.
So when's the photocopier going to be fixed?
Today.
Really? That's impossible. Nobody does same-day service.
Corporate Business Solutions does.
Nobody believes it, but it's true. Corporate Business Solutions provides guaranteed same-day service to all CBS customers. CBS is your industry leader in sales, leasing, and service of multifunctional office equipment. Call Franco Sorgiovanni's team of sales professionals at CBS for all your office equipment needs. Call 780-490-5600 or visit cbsca.com.
Everyone loves a comeback. Hi, I'm Colin from Cantwork. The flame of Edmonton sports fever burns bright. Cantwork proudly continues our partnership with Jason Gregor, excited to re-enter the arena of sports radio on Sports 1440.
Edmonton's premium live music and party venue is
On the Rocks.
Check out Bingo Tunes on Monday. Perform on the best stage in town with karaoke on Wednesdays. Learn how to salsa with Salsa Rocks on Thursdays. And every weekend, OTR goes live.
With your favorite bands on the OTR stage and DJ Kenny K.
For everything that's going on at On the Rocks, give us a follow.
Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter.
At On the Rocks, EDM.
Eat well, party hard.
On the Rocks.
On the Rocks.
On the Rocks. Open every day till 2 a.m.
There's nothing like having a little skin in the game to make things interesting. But when a little skin becomes more than you can afford to lose, it's time to take a break from sports betting. Set a budget and stick to it. If you gamble, use your game sense.
You can't predict exactly how your harvest will go. So here's the next best thing. InvigorResults.ca. Featuring localized and replicated trial results, you can see how InVigor canola hybrids could perform in your fields. But more importantly, the results demonstrate our consistent track record and undisputed leadership, giving you the confidence to flex your harvest muscle season after season. Go to InVigorResults.ca to see results in your area today.
Hey, busy parents, want some spare time while your kids have a blast? Bowl Canada helps you split your time wisely. Sign up today for our Kids Bowling League. Visit bowlcanada.ca. They'll strike it big and you'll have a ball.
Boss it.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Japa Machinery. Did you know that Japa offers in-house and on-site service? Rain or shine, Japa's service department is here for you. Get a quote now at japamachinery.com.
He's not just another pair of glasses. It's the Jason Gregor Show. Thanks for checking out Edmonton Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Girls are scantily clad and showing body. A chick walks by, you wish you could sex her, but you're standing on the wall like you was Poindexter. Next day's function, high class luncheon. Food is served and you're stone cold munching. Music comes on, people start to dance, but then you ate so much you nearly split your pants. A girl starts walking, guys start gawking, sits down next to you and starts talking. Says she wanna dance because she likes the groove. So come on, fatso, and just bust the move.
Well, it's a great tune, baby. Exemplify the orders right now. Okay, we got a lot of text line in 833-401-1440. Also the comment section at YouTube. Everybody's fired up, as you should be. It's frustrating to be an Order fan right now, I would think. Disappointed. 6 games in and your team's barely showing up. Hey, Gregory, everybody talk about the system. I played hockey and understand hockey and most likely to understand the system if you give it a explanation. This can't just be that hard to understand, can it, from tomato soup? No. And here's the thing. I've said it many times. I think people are using the system as an excuse. It's the exact same system they had against Winnipeg and Minnesota. Right? It's the exact same. It did not look remotely the same. And the other thing is they are getting absolutely murdered off the rush. They're not spending a vast amount of time in the defensive zone. Right? It's not like we see them getting lost. Now, in front of the net, without question, that's a problem. But there's no system on the planet that says, hey, let's expose ourselves in front of the net. Not one. None. Now, if you're trying to play a little bit of a passive, because, you know, it's a zone defense that looks like they're playing. And like I said, like they're not stuck in their zone a ton, right? But they're playing a little bit zone. Right? Some would say box 4+1. If you want to say it's kind of probably the simplest way to explain it. Right? But right now, they are allowing penetration to the middle of the box far too regularly. It's embarrassing, to be honest, how easy it is for the opposition. And not just like last night, they got killed off the cycle, which is probably the first game all year they got killed off the cycle. And that's Minnesota's strength. But they've been getting crushed off the rush, scoring chances off the rush. They're just like, hey, we're Oprah Winfrey. You get one, and you get one, and you get one. Everybody gets one. It's ridiculous. Play harder. Like there's so many few systems for National Hockey League teams, right? And you might have slight different terminology. It's rarely that the system is suddenly the reason why the Edmonton Oilers, because the system doesn't impact your work ethic. The system doesn't impact your brain or your intelligence. And it doesn't impact your inability to handle the puck, right? There's no system that says, hey, guys, why don't you allow those guys to stand in front of the net? We won't box them out. There's no system that says that. There's no system that says, hey, why don't you stand in front of the net and we'll never put a stick on you. We'll just let you deflect pucks all day. There's no system there. Okay, that's not systemic. So I'm sorry. I think the system excuse is a crutch. It's a crutch. The team's playing like crap. Their give a bleep meter is barely registering too often, especially in the third period. How can you be that bad in the third period? I don't understand it. So we'll get to it as we get to the oil report, brought to you by Volvo of Edmonton. We're stop in right now. Maybe you need something to give you a smile on your face. Well, how about a brand new 2023 Volvo, any model, and you'll get $5,000 off. We're blowing them out right now at VolvoCarsEdmonton.com. As we welcome in Tyler Yaremchuk from Oilers Nation. And Ty, where do you come out? I think the system excuse is an excuse. It's a massive one, and I think it's an easy crutch because I don't blame the system for the lack of intensity and smarts that's happened that has not been frequent enough for this team.
Yeah, I'm with you 1,000%, Gregor. As soon as we started talking about this in the preseason, I cringed up because I was like, oh, this is going to become a narrative. The Oilers are never going to be an elite team in their own end or anything crazy like that. And as soon as people started talking about a changed structure in the D zone, I was like, people are going to latch on to this and it's going to become a thing. I agree with you what you said. Minnesota last night, yeah, they got beat up on the cycle a little bit. Before that, go back through the games. They were getting beat off the rush. They were getting beat on odd man rushes. They were getting beat because they had dumb turnovers in their own end. None of that has to do with how they're picking up the high or low guy in the defensive zone. I think you were bang on.
Yeah, it's a big issue. And, there's hesitation. Clearly confidence is a factor at times. Like Evan Bouchard, you know what? He's never going to be the most physical defenseman. That's fine. Every player in any sport is going to have strength and weaknesses, right? Some linebackers are better at tackling. Some guys are better in coverage, right? And that doesn't mean that they're bad if they're just a little weaker at the other. But Bouchard's biggest strength is when the puck's on his stick, normally he makes plays. There's 3 goals now in 6 games that are a direct result of Evan Bouchard mishandling the puck. That to me is a concern because it shows a guy whose best asset right now is one that he doesn't even have confidence in.
Yeah, and I had someone point out to me, I talked to Bruce Kurlock on ON every day today, and he's usually pretty good at breaking down the systems, and he wondered if maybe there was something with Bouchard where the game's moving too fast for him right now, and maybe that's where this new system is throwing him off a little bit. He's thinking about 100 other things and not about what he does best, which is moving the puck up ice. There's also, and this is maybe a microcosm of the whole team, there's some bad luck at play here, Jay. I mean, Bouchard, it seems like every mistake he makes, it ends up in the back of the Oilers' net. And that's kind of the same for the team right now. I hate to make this into a goaltending thing. They are dead last in the NHL in high danger save percentage, and it's not even close. They're at a 620. A 640. They're at 32nd. 31st in the league is Winnipeg at 5-on-5 at a 720. That's a huge gap from last to second last. I think there is also something to be said that they could use a handful more big stops at some point. And if that starts to come, if the goalies get up to a decent level, magically we will stop hearing about the defensive zone issues.
To an extent, Jack Campbell stood on his head in the second period last night and kept it 3-2. But my goodness, their defensive zone coverage was awful in the second period. The goalie just masked it, and then come the third period, he was unable to do it. He was unable to play, that ridiculous. It was now, and it's Minnesota. The Oilers can't beat Minnesota, just like they can't lose to Nashville. They can't beat Minnesota. But now you look ahead to the Rangers. There's no lineup changes to be made other than Stuart Skinner. Skinner's obviously going to start in goal, but here's the one thing I'll say this: I thought Matthias Janmark was better than Dylan Holloway last night, and showed why the coach was right in putting him on that line. He held onto the puck. He made plays. He was a much more impactful player last night than Dylan Holloway.
Had a breakaway where he looked like a top 6 winger for a second. He got a step on the guy, burned him wide, drove in wide, and just unfortunately couldn't finish it off. I think the forward lines could actually probably stay the same next game. I don't think you need to jumble them up too much because I'm with you. I thought Matthias Janmark looked good. That third line didn't get scored on. The team gave up 7 goals, and the third line of McLeod, Brown, and Brown, they didn't get touched once negatively on the score sheet. So I think that's a duo that Jay Woodcroft has maybe found some trust in. I think he should keep rolling with them. the second line scored a bit. They also gave up a ton of goals. I think you can run them back pretty confidently as well. The one thing I wanted to pick your brain on, what do you think about the power play and the decision to go with Evander Kane there? I know he scored, got that nice deflection in front. That's great. I thought early on the play was dying on his stick a lot. I wonder about Ryan McLeod just trying to be the McDavid replacement in the way he can use his speed on the zone entries, the way they like to drop it back. I wonder if maybe they should make a switch on the power play.
In what regard?
Just moving Kane off and going with someone like McLeod who's a little bit faster, or just using that fifth spot as a reward the hot hand. Go with Fogle, throw anyone out there. I felt like the play was dying with Kane a lot in the first half of the game.
Well, I'll say this. I felt on the 5-on-3, Kane's not a passer. That's not his strength. And he was the one who was down low in the corner, always trying to make the pass. I don't think they put the setup for the 5-on-3, and that's because there was I think 4 passes in a row. You have Nugent Hopkins as your best passer, right? Well, obviously Draisaitl, but Draisaitl, they want him on the right side for the one-timer, right? I think, you make one change because it's probably only a few games. And so that keeps things as close as you can. But for that 5-on-3, A, you don't practice it very often. B, Kane's probably never played that position anymore, but he's not a passer, right? So I don't think it was a lack of speed that was the issue on that power play. It's Kane doesn't have it just shows you Kane's a really good NHL player, but it shows you how good Nugent Hopkins, Draisaitl, McDavid are on the power play because they complete 90% of their passes.
Yeah, they still managed to zip it around a decent amount. They got a power play goal, probably nothing really worth complaining about, I guess. So yeah, maybe it's the same lineup coming back against the Rangers tomorrow, and that will probably anger some people.
Well, yeah, there's not much option for the coach to do at this point, right? To me, I do wonder at some point with 7 defensemen, if you keep having the same mistakes, maybe somebody misses a shift here or there. We'll see. But when I look at the Oilers' consistent, the lack of execution and focus, to me, is the biggest problem. And I don't know how to magically fix that. And I wonder, and it sucks for Oilers fans to say this because, so the Oilers will play tomorrow. Then they have Friday, Saturday, play Sunday, and then they don't play again until the Thursday. So after tomorrow, they only play 1 game in a week. They could have 3 really good practices, really good practices. And I think that's probably what they need because they got to practice to get the bad out of their game.
Yeah, I agree with that as well. Maybe this Heritage Classic thing is coming at a good moment for them because they have that baked in 3 days off immediately after that in between games. So I think that's probably part of it. The only counter argument to that is we're early in the year. If you need hard practices to get these mistakes out of your game, this is the group that came back early in September because they wanted to start training camp on time and be ready to go by puck drop. So the fact that we're sitting here being a few practices might fix this. Why didn't training camp just get you set out on the right track in the first place?
It is weird. And the other thing is how lethargic they've looked in the third period. That to me might be one of the more concerning things. They've been outscored 10-1 in the third period. They got the second most goals in the first period, so they haven't started poorly, really, in most of their games. Even last night, scored first goal, scored it early, right? Probably could have gone up 2-0 on the 5-on-3. That might have made a big difference. But starts haven't been a factor. And, it's odd to me at how overwhelmed at times they've been in the third period of games.
And I'm reading some of your Facebook and YouTube comments, too, and this is something people complained about on my show today. The too many men penalties. I don't remember the last time I saw an NHL team take 3 too many men penalties in the same game. And Greg's, they easily could have gotten more. There was a couple of really close calls as well in that game where you're oh, they might take, okay, nope, they're good. They're safe. And to me, it's lack of focus, lack of awareness. I don't even know the right word to use for it. It's brain dead behavior to be taking 3 too many men penalties in a game.
Ty, you haven't seen it since 2012. It tied an NHL record for the most too many men on the ice penalty by a team in a game. The Coyotes were the last team to do it in 2012, and it's happened 7 other times in NHL history. So rather rare. But the Oilers, it's a record you don't want to have, but now they've tied it.
Yeah, that was just one of the many ugly moments. But you're also right with the starting on time hasn't been an issue. You even go back to the 8-1 drubbing in the season opener. First 10 minutes of that game, it was damn, Oilers are looking good tonight. And then they just somehow crumble. So I don't know. It's the total reverse of what they've been for the last 2 years, where it's like, oh my God, if they could just start on time, they'd blow everyone out. And now it's some sort of sick, twisted punishment for Oilers fans, where it's like, you're going to get good starts, then the rest of the game will suck.
Yeah, maybe they got to get on the treadmill, get their cardio up a little bit. I'm not sure, but it's been an odd start to the season for the Oilers, and they got to figure it out though, man. Like, their only saving grace is that a lot of the other teams in the Pacific outside of Vegas are struggling early on a little bit. That's their only saving grace. But they can't wait much longer. This is a huge 2 games. It should be an emotional night tomorrow. Doug Wake, Charlie Huddy go up on the Wall of Fame, and then of course Sunday. The outdoor game, which is an exciting game for both teams. The players love it. You kind of have your inner youth come out again. So we'll see how they do. But man, I think it's going to be a stress game tomorrow. They have the ceremony before the warm up for Waite. So get in your seats early, by the way. If you're going tomorrow, you want to get there early to see Doug Waite and Charlie Huddy. And then we'll see. I think that'll be an exciting time for fans. But something tells me the game will be maybe a little nerve-wracking for the fans, because the last thing they want is a 1-5-1 start.
And I mean, granted, the Oilers have gotten to, they got to UC Saros in Nashville, so it's not exactly a team that should be scared of any opposition goaltender. But going up against the Rangers, if it's Igor Shesterkin in net and you don't have Connor McDavid, it's a little bit of like, oh boy, you need to fix up what's going on in your D zone, and then tomorrow night you need to be really darn good in the offensive zone if you want to beat that guy.
Have yourself a good one, my man. We'll chat with you next Wednesday.
Thanks, Rex.
There you go. That is Tyler Ramchuk, Oilers Nation. Oilers and Rangers. You want to go? We got 2 sweet seats. We'll give those away before the end of the program. When we come back, who is it Wednesday? I've had a few guesses. No one's correct. We'll tell you who it is next after Connor Halley and a Sports 1440 update presented by BIE Engineering, specializing in all your residential, commercial, and industrial structural engineering needs. Go to BIEENG.com.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Light night in the NHL. Just 1 game on the schedule as the Capitals and Devils meet in Jersey just after 5. The Oilers back in action tomorrow when they'll take on the New York Rangers. Carolina Hurricanes defenseman Brett Pesce is expected to have missed significant time with a lower body injury. Head coach Rod Brindamore not giving a specific timeline, but noted it would be out longer than week to week. The Toronto Raptors kick off their season tonight, taking on the Minnesota Timberwolves. Tip-off set for 5:30. Off the court, the Raptors exercising the 4th-year team option on Scotty Barnes, keeping him in Toronto through 2025. Elsewhere, the Hawks take on the Hornets. Knicks hosting the Celtics. Cavaliers head to Brooklyn. The Bulls up against the Thunder. The Kings in Utah. Spurs welcome the Mavs to town, and the Trailblazers in LA taking on the Clippers. The CFL teams have announced their nominees for their list of annual awards. Trey Ford was the Elks MOP and Most Outstanding Canadian nomination. And on the ice, 2 games in the AJ this evening. Spruce Grove hosting Camrose at Grant Pier Arena, and the Sherwood Park Crusaders taking on Bonnyville. Both those games starting at 7. Coming up in hour 2 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll get to another edition of Who Is It Wednesday. I'm Connor Halley, and this has been a Sports 1440 update.
This is Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station broadcasting on Treaty 6 territory.
Download the free iHeartRadio app and listen to CKJR wherever you go.
Rodeo clowning felt like an exciting opportunity. Boy, was I ever wrong. The bulls. So predictable. But you know what's exciting and unpredictable? PlayAlberta.ca. I can bet on any sports game, play online casino games anytime, and buy lottery tickets anywhere.
PlayAlberta.ca. Go all in on excitement. Sign up today and get over $100 in welcome bonuses. Remember, if you gamble, use your game sense.
Get your vehicle ready for winter with Jiffy Lube. Drive-in, drive-out service with 25 extra air miles with your Shell Go Plus app. Be wise, winterize. Jiffy Lube, keeping you moving.
What you eating there?
Oh, just a Leon's $10,000 shopping spree in a Chevy Colorado.
How do you plan to get all that from a Big Mac?
Monopoly Double Play.
Monopoly Double Play?
First, I peel on pack, then I peel an app. 2 ways to play and win.
So basically, you're potentially holding the most lucrative Big Mac ever?
No, I'm potentially eating the most lucrative Big Mac ever.
Now you can double play at McDonald's for more ways to win millions of prizes. While supplies last, chances of winning change as prizes are claimed. Chances of winning McD's app prizes based on time of code entry. See rules at participating McDonald's in Canada or at mcdpromotion.ca.
Being on this road together means saving twice during the Fountain Tire Road Ready sales event. Save up to $225 on a set of 4 select tires. Plus, get a bonus $50 off any service until December 16th. Book your appointment at fountaintire.com. Restrictions apply. Financing available. Ugh, fine print.
The Wolfpack is out this month at Wolf GMC Buick, and the deals on Denali's are spectacular. Every in-stock 2023 GMC Denali is on sale. Terrain, Acadia, Sierra, Yukon. If it's a Denali, it's on sale. Special 0% financing for 48 months on remaining Sierra Denali half tons. Discounts on all Denalis. Hurry in for best selection and Denali deals that will take your breath away. The exclusive Denali sale on now.
Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy.
With sport and group events returning, are you looking for safe and professional travel options? Look no further than Silent Rides, one of Alberta's premier bus charter companies. Whether your group is big or small, Silent Rides has you covered. We offer state-of-the-art motor coaches, first-class service, and affordable rates. Get your quote today. For more information, contact Ted Nakamura at 780-940-0880 or visit silentrides.ca.
How exciting is it to have Sports Talk Radio back in Edmonton?
Tie game, bottom of the ninth with a full count. The kick, the pitch. It's high, it's far, it is gone! Walk-off home run!
Yeah, it's pretty much like that. Edmonton Kubota is excited to welcome back Sports Talk Radio, Sports 1440. We'll be dialed in for every minute. Get it done, and then some at Edmonton Kubota. All compact BX tractors on sale with 0% financing for 84 months. Stop by on 128th Ave or visit edmontonkubota.com.
Your old furnace can die in the blink of an eye, so why take that chance this winter? Eric Mikowski here, head of the family at Furnace Family. The time for a new furnace is now. Not only will you have peace of mind on those cold winter nights, you will save money on those super expensive gas bills. Unsure? Furnace Family can come check your furnace, and if you buy a new one from us, the check is free. Daikin has an industry-leading lifetime warranty on their heat exchangers. It could be the last furnace you ever buy. Visit furnacefamily.com. Jingle time.
Done right, day or night, furnacefamily.com.
Noah for Medicine Hat writes, Dear Canadian Tire, it's time for upgrades around the house and some upgrades in my toolbox. Any recos? The right tools make all the difference. Cliche, I know, but I once tried to hang curtains without a stud finder. Swiss cheese walls. That's why Canadian Tire carries a wide selection of the tools you need from brands like Mastercraft, Maximum, DeWalt, Bosch, and Stanley. Get everything you need for fall home maintenance at Canada's store. Visit CanadianTire.ca or the flyer for our top deals this week.
Are you winter ready? Don't put off those repairs or maintenance to your trucks or trailers while the cold weather sets in. Call Murray's Truck Parts Locators. Get your trucks in now to make sure you don't end up stranded. From alignments to inspections and engine overhauls, Murray does it all. He can even source parts when you need them and cut down on wait times.
Call Murray's Truck Parts, 780-678-2128.
Murray's Truck Parts Locators, just minutes west of Camrose.
You've got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need. Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939. We're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Crystal Glass, the clear choice for all your crystal glass, or for all your auto, residential, and commercial glass needs. Call 310 Glass or book now at crystalglass.ca.
Sports Radio is back. The Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Welcome back. Wednesday edition of the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440, presented as always by PlayAlberta.ca. Also, thanks everyone watching on Oilers Nation YouTube. The chat line there, people are fired up. The text line is humming in at 833-401-1440. We love the passion of the sports fans in this market. It's great. That's why we came back. We love it. It's exciting. We'll get lots more hockey talk. We got Mike Rupp coming up. Speck, Nick Alberga will join us. Also, Josh Lundberg's coming up in the 4 o'clock hours. The Toronto Raptors tip off their NBA season. Triple-double last night by the Joker. Shocking that the Joker had a triple. I wonder how many he could get this year. He could really realistically get 82, and I don't think anybody would be surprised by it. That guy is he's a hell of a player. Let's get to Who Is It Wednesday, brought to you by Action Electrical. Family-run business. They celebrated 50 years, and they continue to grow and evolve. And, of course, solar has become a huge part. It's a huge savings. You got a $5,600 grant you can use. Maybe you don't know how to access it. Well, go to actionelectrical.net. Reach out to them. They can help you set up. They'll give you a quote and also tell you how you can get the money to save so you can start saving even more money by getting that on your home. A solar panel from Action Electrical. And our guest today in Who Is It? He of course, went to Idaho, played for the Vandals. Seattle, born and raised. He won a Grey Cup championship with the Elks, then Eskimos. Also played in the NFL and is just currently recovering from an injury, hoping to get back next season. We welcome into the Sports 1440 studio, Aaron Grimes. Aaron, how are you, my man?
I'm doing pretty good. Staying warm, so I can't complain.
Now, you're a Seattle guy.
Yeah.
And now you reside full-time in Edmonton. How's the transition going?
It's gone great so far. I can't complain at all. I love it here. Obviously, I chose it, so I can't complain too much. The family's doing good, so it's going good.
Now, why the choice to stay in Edmonton?
Honestly, I was just listening to you talk about the sports fans in Edmonton and how it makes the city great. And I've had a great experience since being here since 2013. The city's embraced me. They've embraced my family. I love it here. This is my second home.
Yeah, well, it's funny because it's kind of like your third tour of duty with the green and gold. You came in here your first year, and your first year is also when you won the Grey Cup. So let's go back in who are we'd like to talk a little bit about kind of the journey and maybe some stories that the people haven't heard about the guys that they've seen playing for as long as you have in the green and gold. So let's go back to the young Aaron Grimes. When did you get involved in football? Were you playing Pop Warner right away?
Yeah, I started playing football when I was 8 years old for the SWAT Cougars in Seattle, Washington. A lot of my friends were playing. I was baseball first when I was 6. Got into football because a lot of my friends were playing it. It was a way for my parents to keep us active, keep us out of trouble. And my love for the sport took off from there.
Now, at a young age, I'm assuming you played both offense and defense?
I was a quarterback when I was younger. I thought I was going to be a quarterback growing up. That obviously didn't work out for me, though.
When did it change? When did you realize, you know what, I don't think I can be a QB?
Once I got to high school. And they told me I couldn't play defense. You either can play quarterback or you can play defense. And I like to run around and hit people. So
you actually gave up being a quarterback because you like defense more?
Yeah, but I think it worked out. I think it might have been the right choice.
Yeah, that's very true, right? It's tough, especially if you're, being an American guy, you're looking at, to be a quarterback in the American system, at least when you were growing up. There's a lot of pocket passers, right? A lot of 6'4" type of guys. So, maybe that wasn't going to be in your future.
I didn't fit the mold. And obviously my coaches must have found that too. They're like, let's throw this excuse out there. You can't play defense so they got me out of quarterback easy.
So you played. Now, the running joke for a lot of receivers will tell me is, the guys who can't catch go play DB, right? How are your hands?
My hands are fine. I can catch. I will say when I played receiver, maybe I practiced catching more often, right? So it was more natural. And the quarterback's throwing you the ball.
Yeah.
So you see it from a different angle. But I definitely I got some interceptions in my career. So, I can catch that football.
You mentioned baseball. So you played it first, but you just gravitated like football. Was that the one sport you loved, or did you have other sports you loved?
I love all sports. So I played baseball, basketball, and football. But my freshman year of high school, I actually played baseball and football. And I remember after my freshman year, my running back coach talking to me about playing football post high school, so going to college. And he said, I think you have a real shot at playing collegiate football. You should run track and work on your speed. I know you love baseball. It's your first sport. But I think that you got a legit shot doing this football thing. So you should run track next year. And I went home. I told my dad. He got me into baseball. We're a baseball family, naturally. Okay. He played baseball and coached it growing up. Told my dad I was going to quit baseball, and he was devastated. Like, there's no way. What do you mean? But he did tell me, if you're going to quit one thing, you'll pick up another. So
Yeah.
you'll do track because you're not going to come home and just sit on the couch. And so I decided to run track, and it worked. Again, it worked out. So
how would you say track helped you as a football player?
just with speed, right? That straight line speed, being able to cover as a DB, run as a receiver, things like that. And when coaches are scouting you to go to college, one of the first things they look at, even at the combine to go pro, right? They want to see how fast you are.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what's his 40 time? What's his broad jump? How explosive is he? And track really helped me with that. Get some running mechanics down and kind of focusing on that speed.
Yeah, the running mechanics is very unique, right? Like getting your feet underneath you, right? Like that. It sounds like such a simple thing, but I watch it even now with young kids, and you see some kids that are fast, and then you're like, man, once that guy gets taught how to run properly, he or she's going to be really fast.
Right. You got, like you said, kids who are born, and you're like, man, those kids can go, but they run with their feet out or their arms out. And yeah, I think there is a slight difference in being a 4.4 guy or a 4.3 guy or a 4.5 guy. In game speed, you can't really tell.
Yeah.
But if a coach sees that you ran a 4.3 versus a 4.5, that 4.3 is a blazer. Like you're going to boost your draft stock, right?
Yeah.
And you learn those types of things from running track.
Now, backpedaling is pretty key for a DB. So, like, is there backpedaling track? Do you find, is there a way to augment so you're quicker out of the backpedal?
I think for that comes down to the training, right? Being able to train, stay on the balls of your feet. It's something you train. But that's why DBs are more athletic than receivers because we do what they do, but we do it backwards.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
okay.
So that's what we do.
I like it. Aaron Grimes joins us. So you grew up in Seattle. So were you a Seahawks fan?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So who were your guys with which era of Seahawks were you rooting for?
When I first really picked up and understood sports, it was the Mike Holmgren was the coach.
Okay.
Sean Springs.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's a throwback name,
Yeah.
right? And then as I got into my teenage years, preteen years, Sean Alexander, running back.
Yeah.
Marcus Trufant, defensive back. Lofa Tatupu, some of those kind of guys. Hasselback, quarterback, Seneca Wallace, guys like that.
Did you get to go to any games?
Yeah. So my mom worked for a bank downtown Seattle, and her company would get tickets. And whenever the bosses weren't using them, they'd give them to her because they knew we had a big family. I have 3 siblings, so there's 4 of us and my dad. And we'd go to the Kingdome before I got blown up, go to the Kingdome, watch Seahawks games and Mariners games.
So now where are you out of the 4 kids in the pecking order?
Right in the middle. So I've got 2 older brothers and I've got a young sister.
So 2 older brothers, did they play ball too?
Yep.
To go to college?
My brother played baseball at a small school, Minot State.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Baseball. Didn't really go far with it. My other brother, a little bit more of a troubled story there. But we all played sports growing up. Yeah.
So now you're a Washington kid, and you actually had committed, did you not, to the University of Washington?
I was committed to the UW, and I remember it because they put me on the front of the sports section in the newspaper. And Grimes has passion for purple. I remember the article, and it was, I loved it. Like, this is my dream come true.
Yeah.
I grew up watching Husky games as well, right? Obviously it didn't work out. I decommitted and went elsewhere, but I was committed to the UW. Yeah.
So you have that front story, that story in the front page. It's a big deal, right? Like college ball in the United States is a massive deal, right? And for anybody local to stay there, they consider it's a huge deal in any sport, right? If you're in the NHL and there's an Edmontonian playing on the team, people just like it a little bit better, right? It's kind of quote one of ours. Take me through the story, how you commit to your childhood dream school, but then end up not going there.
So I was being recruited after my junior year of high school. I was playing pretty well football-wise. The UW obviously was bringing me in for visits because I grew up 10, 15 minutes away from campus. Like true hometown grown kid. And they held a camp in the summertime, and I went to the camp. They invited me to it. Hundreds of kids there. We did a 40-yard dash race. I ended up winning the 40-yard dash race for the kids that were there. Played well during the football portion, and Coach Willingham, Tyrone Willingham, was the coach. A couple of days later, they invited me out to watch practice, so I went with my mom. My dad was at work. They called me in the office after practice, and he said, obviously we've seen you play football. We're interested in you, but also you come around and you show some good character, some good potential. We want to offer you a scholarship. Obviously, you don't have to make your decision now. Go home and think about it. And this decision was already made, right? So my dad comes and picks me up, and he's surprised. My mom's surprised. We're all surprised, right? I get to go to school and not have to pay for it, and I get to play football. I've always wanted to be a pro athlete. And so I go home, and the next day I pretend I'm sleeping on it. The next day I call him, and I tell him that I want to be a Husky. I want to go to the UW. Well, the UW was 0-12 that year, and the nature of the business.
Yeah.
Willingham gets fired. Steve Sarkisian comes in. Again, I'm 10, 15 minutes from the UW, and the new coach doesn't come say hi or see me within like his first 4 or 5 months of being there. So I go on my recruiting trip. It's going great. Jermaine Kearse, Seahawk alumni, was actually my host on my recruiting trip. He was still playing.
Okay.
And at the end of it, I met with Sarkisian, and he just said, you're a little bit undersized. I know you're coming off a meniscus injury. Mind you, I'm already running track by this point in the year. So the knee's no problem. It's an excuse.
Yeah.
We want you to gray shirt, so you don't even start school till January. So your scholarship doesn't even kick in. Even if you wanted to go to school in the fall, you pay for it yourself. Your scholarship doesn't kick in until January.
Okay.
I'm like, I just want to compete, coach. Like, just give me a chance to compete. If you don't like me after training camp, then I will happily redshirt, no problems. But I don't want a gray shirt. I can't sit at home for 6 months. He didn't care, right? So meanwhile, Idaho was talking to me. So Idaho was recruiting me as well this whole time. And probably 5 or 6 Pac-10 schools came to my high school to say hi, hello to me, meet me, send me letters, all kinds of things. But once I committed to the UW, they all were like, we're out.
You're out. Yeah.
This guy's staying home. Idaho didn't, for whatever reason, right? Everything happens for a reason. Idaho was still bringing me in on trips, still coming to Seattle to see me. So I decommitted from the UW.
And so how do you decommit? Like, can the team hold you accountable for that? Or are they just, okay, you're out because you haven't played there yet? Like, is it a difficult process? I don't know anything about it.
There's verbal commitments and there's written letters of intent. So I was verbally committed. The scholarship was offered to me, and they weren't going to take it back. I just had to sign it on signing day. I was only verbally committed. So I was like, you know what? I decommit then. I want to open up my recruiting process again. I want to go somewhere where they're going to give me a chance to compete. I understand if I lose a job to somebody, but give me a chance to earn the job as well. So I decommitted, and I called Idaho right away. Coach Leiby, his name, shout out to Coach Leiby. He's my DB coach at first. And I called him. I said, hey, Coach, I decommitted from the UW. You guys have been the only school who's still stuck with me. Is a scholarship still on the table for me? And he started singing the Idaho fight song on the phone. He was like, absolutely. We'd love to have you. We always thought something could happen. You're an undersized guy. You're one that's what we look for, people who might slip through the cracks. Yeah, you're a Vandal. Congratulations. So it
was that easy.
I was committed to the University of Idaho right after that. Yeah.
So do they fax you the sign one, or you just go there on signing day? How does that work?
They fax it to you.
Okay.
They fax it to you. My school asked if I wanted to do you see those signing day things everybody
I've
does.
always kind of thought, to me personally, I'm kind of like, well, this seems pretty dumb. But anyway, I just, maybe because I'm not used to it.
Well, I actually agree with you. My AD asked if I wanted to do a signing day in the gym. I told him no.
Yeah.
I was still a little bit heartbroken with the UW situation.
Sure.
Going to Idaho, like, you know what? All the glitz and glamour, front page of the sports paper, I don't care.
Yeah.
Get me in the camp and let me compete.
Now, I didn't even know about, I'd heard of red shirt, but I didn't even know about gray shirt, where basically you just delay it for 6 months. And I don't even know what's the purpose of that. Like, is that a common thing in the U.S.?
It's not very common. That was the first time I had heard of it as well.
Okay.
And the way I look at it, this is my personal opinion, I guess, is after football season, some seniors will leave. They'll graduate or they'll start training for the combine.
Yeah.
That opens up another scholarship.
Okay.
They give me that scholarship in the spring.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, so I'm not worth the scholarship right now, but I will be when some of your guys leave. Well, maybe I'm just not one of your guys, and I respect that.
Yeah.
But I'm going to also go somewhere else.
Yeah, you want to go where you want it. That makes perfect sense. Aaron Grimes joins us here today on Who Is It Wednesday. We'll take a quick break, come back with more on the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440 Live on Oilers Nation YouTube.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option.
Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
A full-service provider of heavy haul transportation and rigging at the highest level. Next Gen Transportation.
We're developing new and innovative ways to transport oversized and overweight equipment to remote and challenging locations.
Our Next Gen team leads with a wealth of experience and expertise. But most importantly, we put safety first, so everyone gets home safely.
We also take great pride in supporting our local community programs and teams. Good luck to everyone this season and in the year ahead.
Visit nextgentransportation.com.
Are you ready to light up your game like Edmonton lights up the ice?
Then choose Ewell.
Electrical Wholesalers Edmonton Limited offers lightning fast service. Just like your favorite forward, they deliver your electrical supplies in record time.
Plus winning quality. They only stock the best.
And don't forget about their all-star support. When it comes to customer service, they're the playmakers.
So don't sit in the dark. Make the power play and visit Ewell today. Online at ewel.ca, where excellence in electrical meets the heart of hockey.
Christensen Communities, the name in active adult living. Enjoy retirement living without compromise. At Christensen, we understand that each lifestyle is unique. We are committed to providing choice through optional dining, personal services, recreation programs, and care plans to suit your current and future needs. Enjoy maintenance-free living and build new friendships in a safe, independent community. Large suites with full kitchens and in-suite laundry, on-site amenities, and so much more. Find out more today about our communities across the province at cdlhomes.com.
How do we do it? Well, at Leading Edge Physiotherapy, we invest. Our money and time goes right back into technology and training, and it's all designed to get you back into shape. We invest in people, the people who really care, and they understand how your body works. Then they combine their experience, training, and skills to work with you to help you solve your issues, be it pain in the back, neck, arm, shoulder, heel, literally head to toe. Leading Edge Physiotherapy, always taking new patients because we keep fixing the old ones. Life shouldn't hurt. Find us at leadingedgephysio.com.
Saturday night at 7, load the stands at Rogers Place because your Edmonton Oil Kings face off against the Portland Winterhawks for United Against Cancer Night.
Help raise awareness and unite in the fight against cancer.
There will be a 50-50 benefiting Sorrentino's Compassion House. Plus, fans in attendance will be given signs where they can write who they fight for as we stand against cancer.
United Against Cancer Night, Saturday at 7.
Oil Kings and a rare visit from the Portland Winterhawks.
Great family entertainment at Rogers Place starts at just $20 a seat. Save on day game pricing now at oilkings.ca.
When you go home, tell them of us and say, for your tomorrow, we gave our today.
In the hustle and bustle world of today, the James Insurance Group would like to take this time to honor the Royal Canadian Legion, who continue to make a difference in the lives of veterans and their families. Today and every day, we honor those who gave their hearts and lives for our todays, lest we forget. A message from the James Insurance Group, online at tjig.ca. That's tjig.ca.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Ewell. From LED lighting audits and retrofits to design-built distribution systems, Ewell services can give you the edge you need to impress your clients. EWEL.ca.
Look good, feel good, play good. It's the Jason Gregor Show. Thanks for listening to Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
We return. Who is it? Wednesday, the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440, live on Oilers Nation YouTube. A lot of people wondering now, 6:55 is when you should be in your seats tomorrow. All right? You don't want to miss the ceremony. So get there for that. Aaron Grimes is our guest in studio today. Who is it Wednesday? Brought to you by Action Electrical. And so, Aaron, you play 4 years with the Vandals. What did you know, if any, about the CFL before you came up here?
I didn't know anything about the CFL. But football's a small world.
We'll just get you to move a little closer to your mic.
Oh, sorry about that.
Yeah, there you go. Perfect.
Football's a small world, as you know. Torrey Hunter
ended
up being my defensive back coach my last 2 years at Idaho, and he actually is an Edmonton Eskimo alumni.
Oh, yes.
Right? So he had a connection with the GM at the time, and he asked me if I wanted to play football in the CFL. I'm like, yeah, like they'll pay me to play football? Absolutely. I'd love to play up there. And that's how I ended up coming to Edmonton.
So you come to your first training camp in 2015.
13.
13.
Yep.
Okay. And then you won in 2015. So you came to your first camp in 2013. Tell me about your first camp when all of a sudden you're lining up and you're going up against a slot back and he's got the waggle.
I was like, this is cheating. What? How am I? I got to press this guy, right? I'm fourth on the depth chart. Like what? 2-3 reps a day. How am I supposed to succeed up here? Like I can't even talk, about the time. I couldn't use my phone unless I was in Wi-Fi. And I was like, this is wild. Like I knew I love football, but I didn't know if I loved it that much my first training camp.
So, because it is, you talk to a lot of players about it, and they say to be a cover guy in the CFL is arguably harder. You played in the NFL, so we'll get to that in a sec. That it's arguably harder, especially if you're the halfbacks because you have to cover the waggle. Right. And we're starting to see, Miami does it a lot, not the waggle per se, but they get guys in motion a little bit, but they're not running straight. They're running diagonal, kind of across the line, and then they cut up. So at least it's a little bit easier for the guys. But what was the keys for you to adapt so you could handle the waggle?
My biggest thing was technique. Luckily, my coach in college played in the CFL. And his big thing was technique. Like we don't hold guys after the line of scrimmage. We use our eyes and our feet. That puts us in a great position. And so being able to have that already in my toolbox helped out a lot because these guys are moving full speed at me. So my feet have to be quicker at the snap of the ball and my eyes have to be in a great spot. Otherwise, Fred Stamps and Darius Bowman are 50 yards down the field before I even realize that it's a pass play and I get cut. So I think technique, obviously speed, the ability to cover all this space, those are huge tools that you got to have to be able to play defensive back in the CFL.
You come in 2013. You don't know anything about the league. Your first few days, you're, as you mentioned, you're fourth on the depth chart. You're not getting a ton of reps. Take me kind of through training camp and how it went and maybe when you started to feel comfortable to think, okay, I might have a shot to make the team.
I love telling this part of my journey is 2013, barely any reps in training camp. And, my girlfriend at the time, she's my wife now, she's back home. She's pregnant. So I've got my first kid on the way. I got to figure out how to provide for my family, but I'm not getting a lot of chances up here. JC Sherritt comes out. I get to practice early and I'm just sitting down in a chair right outside the locker room. He must have seen it on my face. I wear my emotions on my sleeve, people tell me. He sits down next to me. This is just after JC won the defensive MOP award after breaking the tackles record. Sits down next to me, talks to me about the situation, tells me his journey, kind of the same thing, right? Like he didn't even know he was going to be a starter until week 1 of his rookie year. Comforts me. You're doing good. Don't worry about it. You look good on film. Coaches are saying good things about you. Just keep doing your thing and then let things fall where they may. And the rest is history. Like I started having a great camp, had an interception in a preseason game, ended up being a starter week 1, my rookie year. But I vividly remember JC coming out that locker room and telling me like, don't go home. Trust me, it will be worth it. You just got to get through this tough part first.
Yeah, and it's fascinating because had he not come out, you might have just, not necessarily that you would have quit, but you might not have, your heart might not have been into it. So you wouldn't have performed to the best of your capabilities. You might have got cut.
100%, right? Like just not being comfortable out there could be the worst thing, especially as a defensive back. So I'm going over my options. Like, could I be a firefighter back home? The Arena League, Spokane Shock, had reached out to me before camp started and offered me an opportunity. I'd be closer to home. Like, I was just so uncomfortable, that I was ready to make an excuse for why I didn't want to be here anymore.
Yeah.
And JC nipped that in the bud. And I talked to JC a couple of days ago. Like, we're still friends, you know what I mean? So shout out to my boy JC.
Well, you think about it, a 10-year career, not that it hinged on one conversation, but it definitely played a big role in it. So, when you got into your first preseason game, and it's not like usually there's not a ton of reps against the other team's starters early on. But there's either you're going to be on special teams and you're going to be on defense, and you literally you might have a quarter, you might have a half to make the team, right? Mm-hmm. Like it is hard as a rookie to make a CFL roster. There's not a lot of opportunity. Like I know you go in camp all the time, but you make one bad play, the coach's like, well, geez, we kind of like this guy, but we got to make a decision. He's out. Like it is pretty cutthroat.
It's tough. It's got to be professional sports has to be the hardest job to try to earn yourself a position. And like you said, your reps are limited, right? So with that quarter, maybe half of football you get, you don't get to make mistakes, right? Because everything's an evaluation. It's always is. And then in the CFL is even harder because there's a ratio rule.
Yeah.
So I'm not competing with the other Canadian defensive backs, right? They have their own competition, and then all the Americans are competing for roster spots because of how many you have to play in the roster and things like that. So it's not like so-and-so makes a mistake or you make them. It doesn't matter. Like the pool is a little bit different, right? So there's only so many jobs for an American defensive back to have.
Aaron Grimes joins us. Also, coming from Seattle, so you make the Elks, then Esks, now the Elks, and in your third year, you win a Grey Cup. But the first year, now it's summertime, and you're in Edmonton in July. Were you blown away that it's like 11 o'clock at night and it's still light out?
I'd be on FaceTime with my family it's called the Edmonton Inn now, but the one on Kingsway.
Yeah.
And they got that big room where it's just glass ceiling. And they're like, where are you? I'm in the middle of the hotel lobby. Why is it still sunny outside? I'm like, I have no idea, but I got to go to sleep. I'll figure out a way to go to sleep in here. But it blew my mind that it was still sunny out.
And then how many years was it till you started to live in Edmonton year round?
I started living in Edmonton year round 2021.
Okay.
Because of professional sports, right? Like, so first of all, my goal was always to play in the NFL. So I never moved my family up here because my thought was if I play well enough, then I won't be here for long anyways.
Okay.
And then I left, went to Philadelphia, came back, whatever. And then you just don't know when your day is going to come. But we've always known we loved it here. And me and my family started talking about this in 2018, moving up here. In 2019, I was in BC.
Mm-hmm.
And then 2020, the season was canceled, right? But then when I decided to come back to Edmonton, I was like, okay, it's official. This is home. I still love it here. I'm still well, accepted here. My family is, so let's make the move.
Aaron Grimes joins us. So you win the Grey Cup with the green and gold, and then the following year you sign in the NFL with Philadelphia. As you mentioned, you know what? And I get it. For Americans, that's their goal. You want to play in the NFL. It's not a shot at the CFL. It's just that's what you grow up watching. You're watching the Seahawks, just like you want to be at UW because that's what you know.
Right.
Take me through, you got into a game in the NFL. Take me through that process and how different it was from your first NFL camp to your first CFL camp.
It was still just as hard. Now I feel like I had an advantage because I had some maturity, right? I was a 25-year-old rookie versus a 22-year-old rookie. And in just those few years, you've learned how to make money, save money, take care of your family. So I had that. I also knew that I had the CFL. So if things didn't work, I didn't have to be as tight and as tense.
Okay.
Because I loved it up here. So if I was to have to come back here, no problem. But it was extremely difficult because there's so much talent in the NFL in terms of the talent level is the same, but the talent pool is much larger down there.
Okay.
Right. So like there's people up here, starters, a lot of starters up here can crack NFL rosters, but the drop off becomes with your 2s and your 3s. In the NFL, you can go against a third string receiver and they'll make you look just as bad. Right. So it was still tough. And that dang East Coast humidity was kicking my butt during training camp.
Really? It was that noticeable for you?
Oh, like 9 a.m. practice, but the sun's out and you're sweating as soon as you walk out those doors. Like, oh, I'm from Seattle.
Yeah.
Humidity was new to me. That was different.
So looking back on it, would you have gone earlier and trained there for 6 weeks just to get used to that?
Yeah, probably. And then stayed, in the offseason, just things that I would have done a little bit different. But for sure.
Now, having played in the CFL, specifically with the waggle rule, did it make you a better cover guy? So when you went to the NFL, did you feel like, okay, like I can cover guys now? Like obviously there's some bigger guys there for sure, but just knowing how to cover in speed, does it make you a better DB?
I think so. I think that my patience at the line of scrimmage was way better because the guys aren't moving anymore. And my ability to read what was happening offensively before it happened was quicker because they're already lined up stacked or they're already lined up in a bunch. Where in the CFL, they could start out wide and then waggle to a bunch. And last minute, you got to make that change on the call or your leverage or whatever. In the NFL, they're stationary. So I thought it was a huge advantage for me going down there.
Was there a mourning period for you mentally after being cut in the NFL?
Yeah. There was. Went back home. I'm like, dang, nobody really called. I had one call. I did get a call from the Bears, and they said, "Do you want to be on the practice roster?" Yeah, of course. It was like 10 o'clock at night. Like, okay, we'll send the contract over in the morning. Morning came. Well, so-and-so just got released from the Jaguars, so we're going to bring him in, but tell Grimes to stay healthy. Well, Bears, if you're listening, I'm still waiting on that phone call back, and then I didn't get any more calls after that. So I don't remember what the time frame was, but I was back in Edmonton shortly after I was released by Philly.
Yeah. And so, and then you stick around. You're in Edmonton for a few years. Then you sign in BC. Take me through kind of that free agent period for you and how difficult it was, or is it just simply this is all about finances, and this is just it's a business right now. It's not personal.
It was hard. It was both. It was a business decision and it was a personal decision. 2018, obviously we missed the playoffs, right? There was rumblings of our coach being fired and rumblings of us losing our franchise quarterback, and you hear all these rumors and you're like, man, is this going downhill? Like, if it's going downhill, I'm in the prime of my career. I need to make sure I make a decision now that's going to help me out long term. Also, I just had my second daughter born in Edmonton, right? So my wife and we're talking about making Edmonton home. Now I'm talking about making a decision that moves us in a different city. So it was a huge decision. Me and my wife actually went back and forth on it a lot. She actually didn't want me to go to BC. She loved Edmonton. But I had to make a decision that I thought was best for also my career, because we get short careers in pro sports.
Yeah.
And I wanted to make the best one there. BC had the GM that was in Edmonton when I first got here. And I got along great with the new GM in Edmonton, but I mean, just timing, everything worked out perfectly. And I decided to try to end my career in BC. And I will tell you right now, I wish I didn't make that decision. When I came back to Edmonton, the GM was still the same, Brock. And I told Brock, I went there thinking I'd retire there, and I didn't. Thanks for having me back. So I'm very happy to be back home.
Aaron Grimes joins us on Sports 1440. So you go to BC for a few years, you come back to Edmonton, and now you're here. How challenging, there's COVID mixed in with there, and then injuries for you. How's it been mentally coping with the amount of injuries you've had lately?
Tough. That's been the toughest part of my career, because you go into it and your career is only supposed to be 2.5 years on average. I get into year 8, I'm like, man, I could have a 10-year career. Then I come out healthy, and I'm like, well, what if I did 12, right? You look at guys like Ryan Phillips, Baron Miles, like guys I've been able to play for. Well, I want to do what they did. They retired when they were 34, 35, went out on, a high note. So you start making these plans, like I'm going to do 2-year contracts, and I'm going to boom, boom, boom. But you don't plan for the torn ACL.
Yeah.
So then that hits you. And I remember calling my wife. I'm like crying. I'm like, I'm sorry I moved you guys up here. Like, we sold our home back home. I'm sorry. I don't know what to tell you. Like, you just think it's over. Like, it's done.
Oh, you thought your career was done?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And in comes JC again. He's dealt with injuries, torn his Achilles before, things like that. And after the 24 hours was over, he sends me a text. He says, you've had your 24 hours to feel bad for yourself. Now it's time to recover and get back. And that was the biggest thing I think I took away is, as professional athletes, as humans, our bodies will recover physically if we wanted to. That's no problem. But the mental drain injuries and rehab have on you, and having surgery, much harder to get over.
Aaron, I want to continue on with that. We got one more break. Aaron Grimes joins us here on Sports 1440 on Who Is It Wednesday. We'll return.
I got into reffing for the excitement.
He's going for the chair.
Turns out wrestling is completely scripted. But you know what's exciting and unscripted? PlayAlberta.ca. With an all-new sportsbook, odds boosts, and betting on any game.
PlayAlberta.ca. Go all in on excitement. Sign up today with promo code SPORTS50 and get a $50 free bet. Official gaming partner of the Edmonton Oilers. Remember, if you gamble, use your game sense.
Our cars are our lifeline, and every now and then we need to take care of them too. Cochran's Automotive services your vehicle with pride. When you need to fix it up, bring the whole family fleet. Junior's WRX, Mom's MPV, Dad's 1500, or even Grandpa's old 88. All makes and models are welcome. Trust Cochran's Automotive to professionally repair your family's pride and joy. They've got you covered for Volkswagen diesel timing belts too. Call 780-452-5001.
Hey world, get ready to believe. At Oodle Noodle, we serve up world-class, worldwide flavors in our sweet, saucy, and fiery noodles. We believe in the power of nudes. We've got everything from saucy mac and cheese to sizzling pad thai to so many other unbelievable dishes sure to make you a noodle convert for life. You've got to taste them to believe it. Don't be a skeptic. The proof is in the noodles. Check us out at oodlenoodle.ca. Oodle Noodle. We believe in noodles.
There's 2 seasons in Alberta, winter and construction. During these days of traffic barricades and slower commutes, GS Construction reminds you those crews are improving our communities. They're rehabilitating and upgrading Edmonton's infrastructure all across the city. When you see the barricades and run into a traffic backup, remember, the crews are there to help. Drive slow and be patient. Help make our city better and join the GS Construction team. See what they're hiring for on Indeed.com. GS Construction, laying the groundwork for your community since 1974.
We've got your local sports covered all day. Fox Sports has you covered tonight, after 9, and all weekend long. Be sure to check out the incredible NFL coverage on Sunday. Often imitated, never duplicated. We're Sports 1440.
Any team looking to trade up is wise to wait for the right conditions. Right now at Volvo Cars Edmonton, they've got some exceptional offers to help move the remaining 2023 inventory. So whether your team wants to head to the game in the sporty XC60 or the spacious XC90, you'll get up to $5,000 off or finance rates from 2.49%. Volvo Cars Edmonton is Canada's only 12-time Volvo Excellence Award winner. Visit 1205 101st Street Southwest or chat online at volvocarsedmonton.com.
Being on this road together means saving twice during the Fountain Tire Road Ready sales event. Save up to $225 on a set of 4 select tires. Plus, get a bonus $50 off any service until December 16th. Book your appointment at fountaintire.com. Restrictions apply. Financing available. Ugh, fine print.
You'll absolutely love the new and app-approved Booster Juice app. Download it today and start earning berry points for app-amazing rewards. Apply your points for all of your Booster Juice favorites for free. From booster balls to smoothies, snacks, and combo deals. Even digital gift cards. Plus, receive personalized offers that appeal directly to you. The new and app-approved Booster Juice app. More than just online ordering. Download it today. Details at boosterjuice.com.
Are you ready? If you're a member of Vision Credit Union, it's time to get your share of the profits. Join us at your local branch on Friday, November 3rd for Member Appreciation Day. We'll be returning millions in profit shares to our members via account deposit or check. If you're a Vision member, get ready to enjoy your annual cash payout. Not a member? Find out how to get your share of the profits with Vision Credit Union. Learn more at visioncu.ca.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Cantorp. We've continued developing tools and are excited to announce our newest design, battery-powered nut runners. 4 models from 500 to 3,000 foot-pounds with more on the way. Learn more at cantorp.com.
Sports Radio is back. The Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
We continue on. Who is it Wednesday? Our guest today, of course, Grey Cup champion, Aaron Grimes, who's recovering from surgeries, tell me, during the commercial break. So you went in, you were supposed to just get your meniscus. Not no big deal. And in surgery is still somewhat of a big deal, but they were just going to clean up your meniscus. You thought you'd be out, a month or so. Yep. They go in, and while they're in surgery, they realize that your ACL, which you had repaired a year before, wasn't attached anymore. You didn't even know that. Mm-mm. So it didn't feel that bad. Or did it? Or was this the pain of the meniscus was covering up?
Or the meniscus helped because, the joint will start moving in different ways. So maybe it went and damaged an ACL that needed a little bit more. You never know, right? And I'm not going to pretend that I dive into it too much because, that's not my area of expertise. But I just know I had a lot of questions and a lot of emotions when I found out that I had to go through that process all over again. But I was like, hey, I know what I'm doing this time. So, but it was a shock. It was a huge shock. Yeah.
Yeah. So they go in, but you were telling me that, so while they're in there, docs say, hey, great, we fixed your meniscus, but your ACL isn't attached. And because I didn't know that you have to agree to have that surgery before they can do it, even though they probably knew, well, of course he's going to want me to reattach it. So then you had to wait basically 3 weeks.
Right.
And then get your ACL surgery.
Right. The way it was explained to me was, because I was like, we'll just go back in tomorrow if we can. But obviously you got to fit in the doctor's schedule, first of all. And then also, since you just had surgery, your knee is very inflamed. It's upset right now. You want that to come down a little bit before the doctor goes back in again.
Yes, right.
Because it makes the surgery easier on the surgeon.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that makes sense. So here we are. It's August 9th. So we're coming up. You've had 2.5 months, almost 3 months. How do you feel? And kind of what's your mindset going into the off season?
I feel great given where I'm at, right? I'm going to be cleared to jog here pretty soon. I can jog. I'm not cleared to yet, though. Cheese. So, but I'm doing that kind of stuff in the pool. I'm exercising on it. It feels really sturdy, really strong. And I had an exit meeting the other day, and I let them know that my intent was to be as healthy as possible for training camp, because I want to give myself the best opportunity to walk off the field healthy and strong and be able to go out of the game the right way. Obviously, these last 2 years have been terrible in terms of personal health and, the way our season has been going. And I don't want to end it that way. I know you don't always get the chance in pro sports to determine how you end it, but I'm going to give myself an opportunity to, if it should arise.
Now, we talked earlier about kind of, the morning of it when you had a morning meeting in the NFL and then not going to the U of W. So here you are as a veteran guy now. And you look at the CFL, like pro sports is a cruel business at times, right? It's a cruel business. And they're like, okay, here's a veteran guy. He's coming off ACL. Quote, it's easier to just release him.
Yeah.
Right. How do you go into training? Do you think about that? Or is that just like, you can't think about that as a pro athlete?
I think you think about it because you also have a family. So you're thinking, okay, what do I do if that situation happens? But then you also understand that you don't control that situation. What you do control is how you show up every day. So you show up with that smile on your face. That's who I am, right? You see me out, I'm gonna be smiling probably because I enjoy life. I enjoy waking up. I enjoy rehabbing, working out, whatever it is, anything sport related, I'm gonna enjoy doing it. What happens after that? That's out of my control. Now, will I be able to adapt should that time come? I certainly believe so. I hope so, for sure. But this is my main goal. I'm keeping the main thing, and distractions like making choices that I don't get to make. Those are I can't focus on that. Otherwise, I'm not going to be able to rehab today, right? I'll be sad. I'm going to need JC to text me again and tell me to get over it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. But I'm a little bit older now, so now I'm that guy for the younger guys. So I gotta be able to show up and practice what I'm preaching to these young guys every single day.
It has been a challenging last few seasons for the green and gold, back-to-back 4-14 seasons. When you just look at the history of pro sports, change is coming. There's very few organizations that are, 4-14, 4-14, we're not going to do anything.
Right.
So as you mentioned, that's something that's out of your control. But when you talk to your teammates, like I'm assuming, group text or whatever, guys are kind of like, well, hey, something's going to happen. And then if there's a new coach or a new GM, well, then you don't know because you don't know if the person likes you or not or anything like that. Is it excitement? Is it nervousness? How do you explain maybe the group mindset of your team right now?
I think it's a little bit of both, right? Obviously, things didn't go well this year. So there's some nervousness in terms of, like you said, a new guy comes in. A lot of times new people bring new people, right? And then there's also that excitement of, well, you always expect change. Like if change is made, then you're like, okay, we must be headed in the right direction, right? They're going to make the right choice. But you never really know. So it goes back to that whole control the controllable situation, right? You focus on, you try to make yourself the best person and best player that you can be. So whoever comes in, that they're going to want you on they're going to want a Jake Ceresner on their team. He's a great guy in the locker room and he's a hell of a player on the field, right? No matter who it is, right? So you try to put yourself in a situation like that where I've been fortunate enough to do so far in my career. And I can only hope that I get that same opportunity to, again, go out the right way.
Give me your thoughts on the evolution of Trey Ford.
I think that Trey is learning himself in the CFL. He obviously put up great numbers at Waterloo. And then you take that next step, even college football, you come to the CFL and you're like, man, these dudes are moving way faster out here, right? It's another level up from what you played. And he got better in my eyes in terms of a quarterback and being able to read defenses and understand play calls. The dude is very obviously probably the most athletic quarterback for sure, if not player on the field at times. And I think he's got a lot of growing to do, like we all do as young people. But he's exciting to watch, right? Like, we haven't had a lot of excitement the last couple of years, if I'm just being honest. But we have some exciting players and some things to look forward to. And so when I'm watching those games on my dang crutches, unfortunately, and I hear the crowd go crazy when he slips out of a for sure sack and then ends up throwing the ball downfield to Geno, and the crowd goes crazy. And it's like, okay, they're excited to watch Edmonton football again. And that's huge for the organization.
Aaron Grimes showing us Trey Ford, like his lateral mobility is lights out, man. Like he is so fast when he's going, and he can just split and go like as a defensive player, it's almost got to be a helpless feeling at times.
Well, I'm watching Montreal, I think, at home. Oh, no, Ottawa. And they've got their will linebacker spying Trey. Guy doesn't stand a chance. He doesn't stand a chance, right? Like, you got to send, hopefully, your fastest DB at him. But if he's your fastest DB, he might be your best cover guy. So do you keep him in coverage? Do you blitz? Like, definitely quarterbacks like that put stress on defensive coordinators, right? Because if a quarterback gets out of the pocket, you never know what's going to happen. As a DB, the quarterback starts scrambling. I can only cover for so long, fellas. Like, let's get him on the ground. And he brings that element to his game. You just hope, and I believe, he can. So let me say that. But you hope that you get to that next level where it's like, I can do that, but I'm going to tear you up with this passing first.
Yes.
And then when you force me to run, then I'm going to run on you too.
Yeah. Like I know earlier in the year, people made the comparison to Doug Flutie. I'm like, that's unreal. But remember, Doug Flutie passed for 5,000 yards all the time, right? Like he could run and he could extend plays, unbelievable, but then he was still crushing you with his arm. And we did see that the last few weeks. We saw it, of course, the final game of the season. He's finding Geno Smith downfield a lot more, which not Geno Smith.
I got you.
Yeah. And Geno Lewis, but finding him downfield a lot more, right? Your big play guys, and that's what you have to do. Is Trey Ford the fastest player on the team?
No.
Who's the fastest?
I mean, you got Deontay Alexander that just took
Oh,
one to
yeah.
the
I
house
just saw him. Okay.
for the first time in 8 years.
Woo!
CJ Sims was pretty fast. But Trey Ford's a competitor. And I know if he was in here, he'd say he was the fastest in the room.
Yeah. Well, Alexander, I saw him, and as you mentioned, an 8-year drought ends. But the speed, like he didn't even look like he was running that fast, and he was blowing by guys. That's when you know someone's fast.
Yes.
Right?
That's like track speed.
Yeah.
When they're picking their knees up and they're throwing them elbows back and they look like they're just striding, but they're running faster than everybody, you're like, okay, that kid can run.
Yeah. Quickly, you met your wife. So you have 2 daughters, ages 9 or 10?
9 will be 10 next month, and 5.
9 and 5. And they like living in Edmonton?
They love it. My 5-year-old loves telling me that the Canadian flag is her flag and not mine.
Okay.
So we're a competitive household.
Yeah.
Right. So she likes to tell me how she's Canadian. And then my other daughter's adjusting very well to school. She's got a lot of friends out here. She's playing flag football and basketball currently.
Flag football?
Yeah, she gets after it now.
Is she a defensive player, or is she running touchdowns?
She'll tell you right now that she's a safety.
Oh,
but kids, I gotta let her know, baby. When you're young, you play both sides of the ball. So
yeah. But she wants to follow in Dad's footsteps.
She wants to be a DB. Yeah.
Oh well, hey, she might have a good personal coach potentially.
I like it.
Yeah,
yeah, absolutely.
How would that be like? You mentioned your dad coached. How would that like looking post career? Of course, is that something you'd want to get into?
Absolutely. I hope that when I get done, I can transition into coaching, into scouting. Something pretty seamless. I love the sport. I want to stay around it. And obviously, I'd love for it to be here in the city with this organization.
Aaron, thanks so much for joining us on Who Is It Wednesday. We got lots of texts. People really enjoying it. Wishing you a speedy recovery. Hope to see you on the field again in the spring. And as you said, you just want the chance to compete. Just give me the opportunity to compete, and I'll show you I can still play.
That's what my career has been since high school. I just want an opportunity to show I can play, and we'll make it work that way.
Awesome, man. Thanks so much.
I appreciate you having me. Let's do it again.
You betcha. That is Aaron Grimes, of course, recovering from ACL surgery and expecting to be back on the field in the springtime. And it'll be very curious to see who is going to be on the field. Coaches, manager. There's going to be some changes in the offseason for the green and gold. I think there's got to be back-to-back 4 and 14 seasons. There's really no other option in that regard. Let's get to the con man and a sports 1440 update brought to you by our good friends at Fountain Tire. Now, remember, you look outside. Yeah, the snow's there. But we told you 7 days of 7 degrees or less. That's when you want to get it. Stop in right now. Great deal on tires. You can get 4 for $225 right now at fountaintire.com.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Just one game on the ice tonight in the NHL. As the Capitals taking on the Devils just after 5, the Oilers back in action tomorrow, and they'll take on the Rangers. Carolina Hurricanes defenseman Brett Pesce is expected to miss significant time with a lower body injury. Head coach Rod Brindamore did not give a timetable, but has said it would be out longer than a week to week. The Raptors kicking off their season night against the Minnesota Timberwolves in town. I guess going at 5:30 off the court. The team has exercised fourth-year option for Scotty Barnes, keeping him in Toronto through 2025. Elsewhere around the association tonight, Trailblazers take on the Clippers. Spurs host the Mavs. Thunder taking on the Bulls. The Pistons up against Miami. Magic host the Rockets. Celtics take on the Knicks, and the Wizards in Indiana taking on the Pacers. The CFL's nominees for their list of annual awards announced today. Trey Ford, the Elks MOP and Most Outstanding Canadian nomination, and 2 games in the AJ as Spruce Grove hosting Camrose at the Grant Fuhr Arena at 7. Sherwood Park taking on Bonneville. That one also starting at 7. Coming up in hour 3 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll be joined by former NHLer and current NHL Network analyst Mike Rupp. Also, Raptors reporter with TSN, Josh Lewinberg. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station. CKJR broadcasts from West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin.
Download the free Stingray music app and listen wherever you go.
Full service provider of heavy haul transportation and rigging at the highest level. Next Gen Transportation.
We're developing new and innovative ways to transport oversized and overweight equipment to remote and challenging locations.
Our Next Gen team leads with a wealth of experience and expertise. But most importantly, we put safety first, so everyone gets home safely.
We also take great pride in supporting our local community programs and teams. Good luck to everyone this season and in the year ahead.
Visit nextgentransportation.com.
Since 1987, Ram Elevators and Lifts has been raising the bar and more by manufacturing superior elevators for both residential and low-rise commercial buildings. What drives them? A vision of accessibility, because they know that an elevator or lift is more than just a mechanical device. It's the freedom to go where you want. Ram's North American-made elevators, starting as low as $32,900, are rated as the best residential elevators by Forbes magazine. Grounded simplicity, elevated design. Click on trustram.com.
Edmonton's premium live music and party venue is
On the Rocks.
Check out Bingo Tunes on Monday. Perform on the best stage in town with karaoke on Wednesdays. Learn how to salsa with Salsa Rocks on Thursdays. And every weekend, OTR goes live.
With your favorite bands on the OTR stage and DJ Kenny K.
For everything that's going on at On the Rocks, give us a follow.
Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter.
At On the Rocks, EDM.
Eat well, party hard.
On the Rocks.
On the Rocks.
On the Rocks. Open every day till 2 a.m.
Hey, sports fans, we've got a clear choice for you. At Crystal Glass, we provide customers with the perfect glass for any job. From home to auto and even commercial, installation or repairs, we're your team. Call 310 Glass or visit crystalglass.ca. Crystal Glass.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is sounding the call. Don't struggle through winter with a furnace you can't trust. For maintenance before winter strikes,
call Legacy. Call Legacy.
For furnace tune-ups and repair to give peace of mind.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
Or to scrap your old furnace for a brand new high-efficiency one.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
And with no payments, no interest for 1 year on your new furnace, it's gotta be Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Hey everyone, it's Kelly here from United Sport and Cycle. United's annual Hockey Days sale is on now. Save up to 20% off on skates, 25% off on equipment, and 35% off on all Pro Stock sticks. United Sport and Cycle, your home of hockey for over 95 years.
There's nothing like having a little skin in the game to make things interesting. But when a little skin becomes more than you can afford to lose, it's time to take a break from sports betting. Set a budget and stick to it. If you gamble, use your game sense.
Every Albertan wants a strong and secure retirement. We all want to make the most of it. That's why Alberta's government is exploring a new possibility, an Alberta pension plan. You might be wondering what's in it for you. The new plan could mean higher benefits for seniors and bigger paychecks for workers. As we explore this opportunity together, Alberta's government wants to hear from you. It's your pension, your choice. Learn more and have your say at albertapensionplan.ca. A message from the Government of Alberta.
Being on this road together means saving twice during the Fountain Tire Road Ready sales event. Save up to $225 on a set of 4 select tires. Plus, get a bonus $50 off any service until December 16th. Book your appointment at fountaintire.com. Restrictions apply. Financing available. Ugh, fine print.
You know, I got into reffing for the excitement.
He's going for the chair.
Turns out wrestling is completely scripted. But you know what's exciting and unscripted? PlayAlberta.ca. With an all-new sports book, odds boosts, and betting on any game.
PlayAlberta.ca. Go all in on excitement. Sign up today with promo code SPORTS50 and get a $50 free bet. Official gaming partner of the Edmonton Oilers. Remember, if you gamble, use your game sense.
The temperature's dropping, and so are the prices at Canadian Tire's biggest tire sale of the year. Save up to 25% on top brands like Motomaster, Bridgestone, and Michelin when you stop by Canadian Tire. Only from October 13th to November 2nd. Conditions apply. Details online.
It would be hard to think of a single individual who has had a greater impact on a generation of Canadians. He left us 5 years ago today, but he left us so much richer for knowing him. Gord Downey taught us about a fishing trip, about a goal that won the Leafs the cup.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Leading Edge Physio. Roads can be dangerous. Accidents happen. If you are injured, Leading Edge experts work with and, more importantly, for you. You don't have to go where your insurer tells you to go. 6 locations in the Edmonton region at leadingedgephysio.com.
He's not just another pair of glasses. It's the Jason Gregor Show. Thanks for checking out Edmonton Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
4:04 on a lovely Wednesday afternoon. Welcome back to the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440. Once again, big thank you to Aaron Grimes for coming in, joining us in studio for another fun edition of Who Is It Wednesday. Always like that segment. Loads of fun, lots of positive text coming in. Hey guys, I'm not a really big football guy. I love those interviews. It's one of my favorite segments now. Well, that's the whole point. It's not just about football. It's about, he's a football player, but we talk about lots of different things. Man, you have to overcome a lot. And I loved his honesty, just talking about how you're just like, oh man, like this might not be for me. And you got to think how challenging that is for lots of rookies when you come to a new city in your first training camp and maybe you're not getting a lot of opportunities and you're wondering, man, how long am I going to be here? So it was great. Now, let's get to Mike Rupp, who is our regular Wednesday guest in the 4 o'clock hour, brought to you by McDonald's as we go around the NHL. Right now, it's Monopoly, baby. Keep playing. You got more chances to win than ever before. You can do it on the app or peel it right off your cheeseburger, your fries, your milkshake, whatever. All the rules on how you can win. McDpromotion.ca. As Mike Rupp, once again, Stanley Cup champion, ace analyst for the Pittsburgh Penguins, also the NHL Network, joins us again. Rupper, how you doing, my man?
What's up, Gregs? I'm doing good, man. Just enjoying this. Hey, how awesome was last night, by the way? 16 games going last night.
Well, it was great. Now, Canadians didn't really get to watch it as much, right? Because it wasn't here. And you know what? Now, to me, I look at, and there's nothing more annoying to me when you have, the broadcast situation. Because my understanding is Sportsnet can do national games on Monday, Wednesday, Saturday. They own the rights for them. So had this been on a Monday, Wednesday, or Saturday, you can team up and they could have ran it if they wanted, even though I know TSN and ESPN are partners. So it's a little bit of pettiness, unfortunately. But I was reading all those stories, people online, and a lot of people are wanting Rupper. And you're a guy who works on the NHL Network to say, why don't we do this when there's 8 games or 7 games? Do you think it's possible?
Are you talking about the staggered start times? I'm assuming.
Start times, yeah, staggered start times, and then almost having like the red zone where you're just going game to game with the highlights.
So, I mean, that's NHL Network. We do that on the NHL Tonight, right? Like, so they're every night in the States. I know it's not available in Canada, except I think the 4 to 6 hour right now.
But you guys don't have the staggered starts, right? So you're kind of
not the staggered starts, but it's just jumping around or updating wherever it is, and it's in that's that's fun. It's a fun show to work on because you're literally it's like the red zone, so you're just going bang, 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 jumping around. So ESPN just tried it for the first time last night, and it's great for them to do it too because they're obviously got a lot of eyes on their network. But yeah, the staggered start times, it's interesting because the knee jerk is we should do this all the time. And maybe not to the exact minute like they were yesterday, but we saw a lot of, 7, 7:15, 7:30, 7:45, 8 o'clock. It was like 15-minute increments, and we're kind of rolling that out. So even if there was 8 games, I think the most frustrating thing as a consumer of hockey is when we get a night where there's 4 7 o'clock games, Eastern time, of course. If there's 4 7 o'clock games, and then, there's like a 10 and a 10:30. You know what I mean? Like all those first games are all going intermission around the same time. It's I think we're at a stage now in sports consumption where there's fans that want to watch more than just their team. They're hockey fans. And I think that the more we can make that available and make the timing of it available, it's great. But I will say this, and maybe some of the listeners would feel this, is last night, usually Penguin games are always 7 o'clock. I worked that game last night, and I was kind of running a little late from my NHL Network duties to get down to the arena. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to kind of speed to get down there for pregame show. And then I realized it's a 7:30 start time. And just in that little moment, how much that must mess fans up if you're going to be moving the time and the start times around all the time. So I don't know. I'm sure that has something to do with it, but if they're ever able to figure out that puzzle, I think there'd be a lot of benefits to it.
So we look at last night's action. I got to ask you about the Edmonton Oilers. And you know what? There's so much talk about the system, Rupp. I think it's misguided. These are NHL players. There's not like some massive, you got to study for hours to figure out what the new system is. And the Edmonton Oilers are getting killed. First of all, a lot of the goals aren't even coming off of systemic breakdowns. They're coming off of not boxing the guy out in front of the net. I don't know what system you've ever played that never says don't box a guy out ever, right? They're getting killed off of the rush. They're getting killed off of tips where guys aren't covering the guys in front. Like I don't see the system as the issue because I saw it against Winnipeg 3 days earlier and they didn't give up very much at all against the Jets. So to me, I don't think it's a system, but it's an inconsistency of a commitment. So how do you get that for your group? A group that has enough talent. Like this is not a team that doesn't have enough talent to win. So what do you see as a former player, guy who's won? What has to change and how do you get this team to play consistent?
So here's the thing that's tough. And I had this conversation earlier today. And the only reason I'm speaking to this from my experiences in New Jersey and growing up in that organization. Sometimes you talk and when we hear, and I'm not speaking in Edmonton terms here, but we want to institute a new system or we want to, we want to lock things down defensively just by changing something and the X's and O's isn't going to mean results. There's a buy-in that has to happen. And when I go back to New Jersey and think, you can see me now, I've got this beard. I wasn't allowed this beard my first 5-6 years pro in that organization in New Jersey, right? We know about the Lou Lamoriello rules of you have to be cleanly shaven. We had about 95 other rules that we had to follow on the day-to-day that really didn't have anything to do with hockey. I'm not saying this is the answer, but this is how that organization got to it. And if you weren't going to follow those rules, you weren't going to be on that team. That's an extreme. But when we did follow those 95 rules, then it's like a little page out of the military, right? Like if we can trust you to be cleanly shaven and your tie to be up all the way when you get back from a road trip at 2 a.m. and no one's going to see you, but still your tie better be up or you're going to get fined. Now we can expect you to carry out the duties we want you to have on the ice. And so you have to have the buy-in, you have to have the structure, it takes time. And I think that that's a perfect example is what John Tortorella is doing in Philly right now. And he has them playing a good brand of hockey, but he's hammered home, made their lives miserable for a little bit, but now you're starting to see the benefits of it. So when you have a team that's struggling with maybe structure and these let-ups and mishaps, it's not going to correct itself overnight. It's going to take some time. And I don't even know to what degree you can fix it. But what I do know in Edmonton's case is with Connor McDavid out of the lineup, that could be a blessing in disguise because Superman's not there anymore. And now maybe the details matter more. And you're going to have to see that. And I don't know how long Connor's going to be out, but I'm just saying to my point is when you have Connor and you have Leon and you've got the high talent and the great power play they have, it masks a lot of things. The one thing I learned in the NHL, you can win a game 7-1, and your team can play like crap. And it's hard to get that message across that you play like crap when you win 7-1, right? So these are things that they've got to go through, and the intangibles, the little details have to get better, and it's going to take some time. And right now they're kind of going through it.
Mike Rupp joins us on Sports 1440 Live on Oilers Nation YouTube, and it is one that there's no easy fix. You have Zadorov saying, you know what, we got too many guys playing as individuals in Calgary, and so, oh no, that's not it. But I probably would agree. And what he means by being individual, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're selfish, Mike. It just means that at times, you know, guys are doing things that are outside of what's expected from the group.
Yeah, and a lot of times too, it's not even the things I've learned that when things are going bad, like I've never played with a teammate that's just like, I don't care if we win or lose. Like, I'm going to do my own thing.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the time it's you have the right, it's almost like the thought that counts, right? It's the right idea. Okay. And it's the right thought process, but it's not the one that you're supposed to do. And when you're in a 5-man group on the ice, like Greg's, if you and I are on the ice together, I need to trust that you are going to do your job and what your job is. And if you don't do your job, my job is not to bail you out of your job. Because if I start cheating over to help you because I don't feel confident you're in the right spot, now I've made a hole where I'm supposed to be. And this is just trickle down effect, right? So okay. I think that that's where it's at. It's this trust factor. And, you know, the Zadorov comments, yeah, I think that that's got to ring true in that locker room. Everyone's got to look in the mirror, and that's where it's at. It's where let's worry about yourself. It's a team game. Everybody needs to work together, but you also need to make sure your game is up to snub. And when you can get that and just have the trust factor that I'm going to do my job, you're going to do yours, as simple as that sounds, it can go a long way.
There was 16 games last night, and in one of those games, Rupper, there's one team that has been off to a pretty tough start by their standards so far this season, and it didn't get any better last night. I guess the good news is they only gave up 3 goals. But what do you know? There's a lot of frustration in Edmonton. What do you make of the Carolina Hurricanes? Finally they limit a team to only 3 goals, but then they don't score anything. Any concerns for you about the Canes start?
They don't look like the Canes, where, you know, this is a team that over the last probably 4 years, they control a lot of the underlying numbers of a game. They get solid goaltending. They don't give up a ton. That's not the case now. It looks different. And I think that they are a team that is trying to tweak and just, you know, add some finishers in that group, maybe add a little more toughness and grit, which they've added in the offseason. But now they don't even look like what they were before. It's very early. I usually can't and don't see or evaluate a team where they're at until about 20 games. But the goaltending doesn't look great right now. They're giving up some opportunities they usually don't do. I still believe in this group, though. I think that the only thing that maybe they have done here, potentially, and I don't even know if they have, because maybe they've messed up. I thought this team was going to run away with that division. Maybe they messed that up a little bit, and it's a little more of a dogfight for the division. But they're still going to be a good team, and they're going to figure this out. To the point we just talked about, they are a structured team. They will get back to that structure, but right now they simply don't look like themselves.
Mike Rupp joins us. Rupper, there's lots of reports that the NHL, they issued a memo to teams that there's going to be majority support to shift to a decentralized draft, similar like the NFL, where the players, you know what, they're their agents, they go to the draft in the city, everything like that, all the hoopla, all the excitement, but the teams aren't there. They send in their pick, and then it'll be Commissioner Bettman on stage for all the first ones. What do you think of this?
I mean, I think that what we're seeing nowadays, and just the way media and everything has changed, and we've realized that you can accomplish things in different places, and I think it could set up for some nice options for the draft. Maybe there's different ways you could sell the draft now. Maybe it's a different look. It's more of an intimate thing. It's not about having the facilities. I mean, you're talking about a lot of different people that got to be on the floor there for the current setup. So yeah, I mean, I think that that's fine. I think it's something that maybe you can make the actual draft where the players are more of the celebration like it's supposed to be, I think, that we see in the NFL. And then you can just go out remotely and you can have those teams making their picks. So I like it. I don't see any negative thing to that. The only thing I would think is usually the days leading up to the draft or a couple days before, you're still having some meetings, you're meeting with teams. That's probably just going to have to be done a different way.
Yeah, you know what? It'll be different. I think it'll be different how people covered and stuff, because a lot of times they go there because they knew all the NHL GMs and scouts and everyone was there and it was a good opportunity. I would think there'd be some potential scouts there, maybe, but maybe not. So it'll be kind of interesting to see whether it's brought in next year. They said for sure in 25, but I could see them pushing it forward to 24.
Yeah, the one little thing that kind of jumps out is I think this is part of the draft, and it doesn't happen that often. But the thing I love, and when you're watching the live draft where everybody's in the same place, is when you see the tables and people are standing up and there's commotion, they're taking a long time, and then you feel a trade coming on. Like those are things I like to see it kind of coming to fruition like that. I think that's a really cool thing as a viewer. You probably won't feel that or see that necessarily again, because when you're sitting in those arenas, right, like you're seeing everybody on the floor. So if the Montreal Canadiens are up to something, but they're not picking for 11 picks, I could see their table over there, and I could see that there's some commotion. Oh my gosh, blah 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 just jumped up and ran over and is yelling something. Like I love that stuff. Like that adds a little bit of fieriness to the draft. So that would be something that you probably wouldn't see anymore.
Mike Rupp joins us on Sports 1440. And, Rupper, there's, it is early but at the same time, you do wonder about certain trends. Like I'll say this, there's one team that I am ultimately confident about. Their early start is going to be exactly how they are all season. I think the San Jose Sharks, I said at the start of the year, I thought it'd be the worst team in the NHL. They're going to struggle mightily to score goals. And I don't see that changing at all for a market that was excellent for a long time. This might be year one of their actual rebuild, because none of their moves to this point kind of showed that they were ready to be a rebuild. But like that could be a team here that might win 20 games, maybe less.
No, I fully support what you just said there. So this is a team that you knew there was going to be change. It's not going to be great. And I sit there and I wonder, this is why I was just talking about this yesterday, actually. Tomas Hertl, I'm a huge Hertl fan. I know that he means a lot to that organization, and that's a wasted talent right now there. You know what I mean? Like you could build cultures other ways. Like just get rid of him now, then, please. You know what I mean? Like it's going to be a bad team. That he's a power forward. He's a good player. I'd love to see him go somewhere else. But yes, it's going to be a long season there in San Jose. But they're trying to change the culture. They're going to have to try to get quicker, see what the new San Jose Sharks are going to look like. But that's one team right now that if I'm a betting man, they're at the bottom of the barrel at the end of the season here.
I'll go into your backyard, Rupper. The New York Rangers are in town tomorrow night. They got a victory in Calgary last night. What do you make of this Ranger team, especially going up against a Connor McDavid-less Edmonton Oilers tomorrow night?
Yeah, I think the Rangers have they've looked good. They've the big question marks this year that everybody's known is Lafreniere, Kakko, and they're getting opportunity. Peter Laviolette said they're going to get minutes. They're getting minutes. They're with the top six, and they've gotten some production there. I like certain things about both their games. I'm just waiting to see kind of everything come together. I do think if those players continue to develop and play in that top six, it makes this team more dangerous because of the trickle-down effect of potentially having Vinny Trocheck as your third-line center with a Blake Wheeler and whoever you want on the other side. I don't know if it's Will Cooley or what they got. He's a fun player to watch as well. But they've got this is a talented group, but it's all going to be positioned around those guys taking the next step. And Filipino is one that doesn't get talked about enough, because I think that last year he set some personal records as far as his stats were, but he's a player that can change a lot of things for that Ranger club. So you got good goaltending. I'm a fan of their D-core. Peter Laviolette's he's not putting the lines in a blender that quickly. He's trying to really smoke out what they've got here, and I think it's going to serve them well.
Rupper, it's going to be fascinating to see. One last one is about the Islanders. They got off to the good start, but now they did score 4 goals. That might have been the most exciting game of the night yesterday, by the way, between Colorado and the Islanders. But, that Sorokin, like normally, hey, they were winning because he was not giving up many goals, but they don't score a lot of goals. Where are you at on the Islanders, a team that basically made no changes in the offseason?
You're right. They did have that start, but it was really weird. They're that one team that had 2 games under their belt when there was teams with 5 games already, right? Like they just had it was hard to really gauge them in the first. They were 2-0 after basically a week and a half, 2 weeks of the season. Like they haven't played much hockey. So, but they're a team that they have a goaltender that I almost think to myself, like there's players on that team I like. Individuals on that team I like a lot, but as a entire group, they lack a lot of things. You understand what I'm saying? Like if you took some of those guys, like I'm a big Brock Nelson fan. I'm a big, like you could talk about some of these different players, Matt Barzal, but when you put the group together, I'm not in love with the group. And we have seen in the past, there's certain organizations that I almost think, and you're not going to get rid of your goaltender. I mean, Ilya Sorokin's a Vezina winner. But there's a goaltender there that I think is masking a lot of things. And it would almost be better to just assess and be able to see what your team is and how to move forward with it. I think a good example of that was when the Devils went and got Corey Schneider. I don't think the Devils were a good team at all. Actually, I think they should have been a lottery team. Corey Schneider kept them in games. He kept them kind of as a mediocre team. So in turn, they didn't pick high. They didn't, they were never able to get some more talent infused into the system. To me, I don't think the Islanders are far off that. I don't believe in the group. I think the goaltending and the structure that they play with keeps them around just enough, but they're never going to be good enough to go on a run, but they're never going to be bad enough to pick high, and that's a dangerous place in the NHL.
Rupper, always good to catch up with you, my man. Are you getting a night off tonight?
Yeah, I'm off tonight. I got a big call. My first call with the Penguins tomorrow night against Colorado. So we'll see how that one goes.
Hey, I'll give you a tip. Watch out for that 29 guy. He's pretty good on Colorado.
Well, there's his last name's McDonald or something, right?
McAdoo, McKinnon.
McKinnon. Oh, McKinnon, that's it. Yeah. I'll keep an eye on him tomorrow night.
He's pretty good. The 2 M's in Colorado are pretty exciting.
Well, keep an eye out for him. Thanks, Greg.
It should be a good game, man. Have fun. Lots of star power on that ice.
Yeah, a ton. Hopefully it'll be a good one for me to call.
You betcha. Have fun. That is Mike Rupp, our weekly Wednesday guest. It's Around the NHL, brought to you by McDonald's. Will return, and baby, it's back. Another season. High hopes around the league. How long will they last? I know it's early, Order fans, but hey, we got to keep you calm. We got lots more coming up on the Orders in the 5 o'clock hour. We just needed a little deflection from the Order talk because the frustrations are running high. We love it, but we'll get back to that and more. The Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca, live on Sports 1440 and Orders Nation YouTube. Any team looking to trade up is wise to wait for the right conditions. Right now at Volvo Cars Edmonton, they've got some exceptional offers to help move the remaining 2023 inventory. So whether your team wants to head to the game in the sporty XC60 or the spacious XC90, you'll get up to $5,000 off or finance rates from 2.49%. Volvo Cars Edmonton is Canada's only 12-time Volvo Excellence Award winner. Visit 1205 101st Street Southwest or chat online at volvocarsedmonton.com.
Don, buddy, want to come over and watch the game? I'll make a big salad.
I don't know, man.
Steve, come over and watch the game. I've got a massive salad here.
Yeah, my wife needs me to go shopping with her.
Mike, want to watch the game and eat salad with me?
Who is this?
Did I mention I've got a bunch of Will Hawk beef jerky too?
I'll be right over. I'm heading over now. I'm already at your front door.
Will Hawk beef jerky, because you don't win friends with salad.
Will Hawk is the home of Alberta's best beef jerky
in Leduc, Spruce Grove, and West Edmonton Mall. Christensen Communities, the name in active adult living. Enjoy retirement living without compromise. At Christensen, we understand that each lifestyle is unique. We are committed to providing choice through optional dining, personal services, recreation programs, and care plans to suit your current and future needs. Enjoy maintenance-free living and build new friendships in a safe, independent community. Large suites with full kitchens and in-suite laundry, on-site amenities, and so much more. Find out more today about our communities across the province at cdlhomes.com.
Action Electrical is expanding throughout Alberta. With the recent acquisition of Big Hill Electrical Services in Cochrane, Action Electrical is the most diversified electrical contractor in Alberta. What does this mean for Action Electrical and Big Hill Electrical Services? It means that they are able to support their clientele all over Alberta with the same high level of professionalism and integrity. From conception to completion and beyond, throughout Alberta, contact
the professionals
at actionelectrical.net today. That's actionelectrical.net.
Established in 2001 right here in Edmonton, Corporate Business Solutions has grown to become the largest Konica Minolta digital office equipment dealer in Western Canada. Office technologies may have changed over the past 22 years, but Corporate Business Solutions continues to provide guaranteed same-day service to local businesses right here in Edmonton. Our customers' loyal support has allowed Corporate Business Solutions to provide the service they deserve. Call 780-490-5600 or visit cbsca.com.
At The Brick, we're not just proud of this city and its rich sports history. We're proud partners of it. The Brick started right here in Edmonton over 50 years ago. And when we're not cheering on the Oilers and Oil Kings live at the game, or the Edmonton Elks under the bright stadium lights, we're in our stores, providing everything you need to cheer them on in your home. The Brick, supporting Edmonton sports teams and fans since 1971, saving you more.
Denim Ford's roots run deep in the history of Central Alberta. Like always, you can experience the same honest pricing and honest service that you've come to expect from all of us at Denim Ford for the past 65 years. Denim Ford is proud to be Canada's only 50-time President Award-winning dealership in customer satisfaction, treating every customer like family. Visit Denim Ford on the world-famous Wetaskiwin Auto Mile or from home at denimford.ca.
Some things just work together. Sticks and pucks, cleats and AstroTurf. Your love for the game and Papa John's passion for better ingredients, better pizza. Nothing pairs with the game like Papa John's. Crafted with signature sauce, toppings, and original fresh dough. They're the champion of pizza. And now you're the champion of winning deals. Just order at papajohns.ca. Use promo code SPORTS20 and score 20% off any regular menu price order. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's. That's SPORTS20. There's nothing like having a little skin in the game to make things interesting. But when a little skin becomes more than you can afford to lose, it's time to take a break from sports betting. Set a budget and stick to it. If you gamble, use your game sense.
Portions of this hour brought to you by On the Rocks. Something going on every day at OTR on Monday. Bingo Tunes, Taco Tuesday tonight, karaoke, Salsa Night Thursday, and live music every weekend on the OTR stage with DJ Kenny K. On the Rocks, Jasper Ave and 118.
Sports Radio is back. The Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Where I leave it at? I know I exaggerated things. Now I got it like that. Tuck my napkin in my shirt cause I'm just mobbing like that. You know good and well that you don't want a problem like that.
4:30. Happy hump day. Oilers taking on the Rangers tomorrow. Do you want to go to the game? Got some sweet seats, courtesy of the Edmonton Oilers. Community Foundation giveaway today for tomorrow night's game. Pretty sweet seats. So that's coming up in the final hour of the show. It's Doug Waite, Charlie Huddy night. If you are going to the game, be sure to be in your seats around 6:55 so you don't miss the ceremony. Right? I like that better. I know that they did it last year where they had it earlier and lots of people just weren't there in time. It was unfortunate. So it'll be better. I think this allows everybody to get in the building. Away you go. You'll be in your seats, ready to rock. And then they will start the game after that. Let's get to the NBA report brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling, home of the no payments, no interest for 1 year on your AC unit or your furnace. Stay cool or warm, depending on how you want. LegacyHeating.ca. As Josh Lewinberg joins us from TSN, our NBA insider. And Josh, another season is set to go tonight. It started last night. The champs won another triple-double. So I'll start with this one. How many triple-doubles does the Joker get this year?
Oh, wow. A lot of them. I mean, I would take the over on whatever it is, whatever the line is, and whatever
if the line is 64, do you take the over?
Ooh, 64. I take the under on 64. That's a lot of triple doubles.
Okay. Well, man, the way the guy's playing, it wouldn't surprise me at all. It'd be crazy. The Toronto Raptors, lots of new faces from the coach. Van Vliet is gone. What do you make of this team? I've seen varying degrees of prognostications, probably because people don't really know what to expect. There's lots of new faces. There's going to be a new coach. He's talked about wanting to use the bench more, which maybe helps Siakam. You know what? If he doesn't have to play as many minutes, I think he actually led the NBA in minutes played last year, if I'm not mistaken. So
the last couple of years, yeah.
Yeah. So what do you make of all the changes in TO? What have you seen from the preseason?
Yeah, I mean, expectations, I would say, are pretty modest going into this season. There is that sense that people are sleeping on the Raptors, and I mean, you can understand why in this case, right? Like, this isn't the case of like the old DeMar DeRozan and Kyle Lowry led teams where they felt they were being disrespected and overlooked, even though that they were competing at the top of the Eastern Conference every year. This is not that, right? Like, they had a disappointing season last year. They made a coaching change. They lost their starting point guard in free agency. They didn't make any buzzy additions in the summer. So I get it, but at the same time, it does seem like the pendulum has kind of swung too far in that direction to the point where maybe they're not getting enough credit. Now, I do think like they're going to miss Fred VanVleet, especially his shooting and his leadership on and off the floor. But I think you have to factor in some of those positives as well, where you get this new coaching staff, which, I mean, you never know how that's going to play out. But I do think this was a team in desperate need of a new voice and a new vision, and they've got it in Darko Rajakovic, who's very positive. And I do really like the energy around this team to start the year compared certainly to where it was last year. And then I think you do have to factor in some internal growth as well. And that's why I call Scotty Barnes the ultimate swing factor for this season and probably beyond as well too, right? Because if he takes a big step forward or even a step forward in his third year, then that to me is the most realistic path for the Raptors to improve and get better. So yeah, like we talk about expectations, the Vegas over-under is set at 36.5, which, like, I don't want to say that's free money because I don't want people tracking me down if they take the over and they end up going under, but I do think 36.5 is really low. I mean, despite everything that went wrong last year, they still finished with 41 wins, and I think if we're talking realistic expectations, like, that's probably the most realistic outcome, again, is that they're either a few wins above 500 or a few wins below 500 with a conceivable path to being worse than that, and a conceivable path, as I said, if Scotty really takes that next step and if they really embrace Darko and his new system, then potentially they are better than that.
Totally fair. You look at the bench this year, and Siakam's minutes are going to come down. Who do you feel are the guys that are going to play the most coming off the bench?
Well, let's do some quick math here in terms of the rotation, right? Like, Darko's talked about using 10 guys, which I'm sure is music to the ears of a few guys coming off the bench that didn't get much of an opportunity, or at least a consistent opportunity over the last few seasons. So you've got the 5 starters, which, as we know now, is going to include Dennis Schroeder. Gary Trent Jr. is going to come off the bench. And even though, like, that's not his preferred role, I do think he has embraced it. Certainly last season, over the last stretch of the year when Jakob Poeltl was here and he was coming off the bench, I thought he played really well, and he's been a consummate professional about it. So I think if he continues to do that, we're talking about maybe one of the best 6 men in the NBA this season. So that would probably be the answer to your question. But I think Chris Boucher and Precious Achiuwa are also locks coming off the bench, just in terms of like being in that rotation. So we're talking about 2 spots for 5 or 6 guys, and just based on preseason usage, I would imagine that Malachi Flynn and Jalen McDaniels get the first shot at those minutes, which means that at least for now, Grady Dick, the 13th overall pick, who has already become a popular guy around these parts, I think he's probably the odd man out, which might not sit well with the fans. But again, 19 years old, just coming into the league, this is a team that wants to win. So I think he's going to have to be patient. They're going to ease him in, and I do think he's going to factor into the rotation at some point this year. But hey, if you've got more guys than you do rotation spots, more guys that can actually play and contribute. That's a good problem to have, and a problem that this team hasn't had over the last few years.
Josh Lewinberg joins us. Josh, the interesting thing for me about the Raptors was just how bad of a shooting team they were last season collectively compared to some other teams at crunch time. Do you feel like do they have more consistent shooters top to bottom, do you think, in your eyes?
I do not think, no.
Okay.
That's the concern here, right?
Yeah.
Like, I love what I'm hearing from Darko Rajakovic about the offensive changes. I think if nothing else, like, they're going to be more fun to watch this year. And as somebody that covers this team and had to watch a lot of painful games last season, like, I am thankful to that change to try and move the ball more and make quicker decisions, less over dribbling and one-on-one. Like, I think it's going to be aesthetically pleasing, but at the same time, like, to play that kind of offense, to really play any successful offense in the NBA in the year 2023, you need to be able to shoot the ball. And you're right, like, that was a major weakness last year, and there isn't like an obvious reason to believe that they've gotten a lot better in that regard. If anything, on paper, they've gotten worse as a shooting team, because you subtract Fred VanVleet, who I know wasn't super efficient last year, but if nothing else, like, he's a legitimate three-point shooting threat, a proven three-point shooting threat in this league. And then especially if Grady Dick, who, he's coming in known for his shooting, if he's not in the rotation to start the year, you've got 10 guys that you're playing. There's 2 above average three-point shooting players in that 10-man rotation, OG Anunoby and Gary Trent Jr. So that absolutely concerns me. I think you can do some things to try to mitigate the damage there and how much that hurts you. And they've talked about, okay, well, they need to try and get into the paint more dribble penetration, more, again, ball movement and cutting. And you can do those things, but at the end of the day, like, if you're not hitting shots, you better be really, really, really good defensively. And they have potential on that end to be really, really good and be one of the league's top teams. But again, that's putting a lot of pressure on your defense to make plays, to create opportunities to run and get out in transition, to score easy points. And we'll see if they're good enough on that end to mask some of the deficiencies on the other end, because that certainly wasn't the case last year. They weren't good enough on either end of the floor last year.
Josh, do the Raptors make the playoffs?
They make the play-in for sure, I would say. And then, well, not for sure, but I would say they make the play-in. And then from there, like, I mean, it could come down to a few made or missed free throws, as we saw last year. It's so hard to say, but, like, do I think that this is a team that's poised for, like, a deep playoff run? No, I think this is probably a play-in team that might be able to squeeze into the playoffs as one of those lower seeds and hope to get some experience in the first round, something that they didn't have last year, and certainly a young Scotty Barnes could use here as those high leverage reps.
Josh, as always, man, great stuff. We appreciate it. I look forward to talking to you throughout the year.
All right, Gregor, talk soon.
You betcha. That is Josh Lewinberg from TS, and the Raptors season begins tonight. Like what he said, they'll make the play-in game, which means they'll finish in the top 10. Probably pretty good odds for that. How about this for odds? Help Your Neighbor, brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling, where you can win a cool little prize for yourself, but you're going to win the major prize for someone else. So we will do it. We're doing this every day, and then we will have a draw on Monday, November 20th. The person's name we draw, you will win because you put yourself in. You'll win the nominator prize, which is an installed Google Nest or Ecobee smart thermostat, courtesy of Legacy Heating and Cooling in your home. And you get a pair of great seats, lower bowl, where the Oilers attack twice against the Wild on Friday, December 8th, courtesy of the Gregor Show. And then you are going to gift a brand new 96% energy, high star efficiency, 2-stage furnace, courtesy of Legacy Heating and Cooling. It comes with the T4 thermostat, all the permit and inspection fees, the removal and disposal of their old furnace, 5-year labor, 10-year parts, and a lifetime heat exchanger warranty on the furnace. Here's the rules. For the person that you gift it to, they have to own their home and reside within 100 kilometers of Edmonton. Okay? It's that simple. And also, they can't live in the same house. You can't gift this to your spouse, your common law, your partner, right? Doesn't work. Has to be someone outside of your home. So we will do it right now. Text the word heating. Text the word heating with your name to 833-401-1440. We'll give you some time. Don't worry. If you're listening online, you have time. Drive safe. Don't be driving and texting. You got 5 minutes. Don't worry. We shut it off in 5 minutes, and then Connor will pick a winner, random. We just fire up the text machine, stops, and that person, you will win. Make sure to answer your phone because Connor has to call you. We need to get you on the line to confirm fire rules that the person, people heard from them. All right? So there you go. 833-401-1440. Your name and the word heating will get you in. We'll come back with 5 questions on the Jason Gregor Show with Connor Halley, presented by PlayAlberta.ca and Sports 1440 and live on Oilers Nation YouTube.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
Actions speak louder than words. Japa Machinery Group puts your construction plan into action with XCMG construction machinery you need. Available for rental or sale. Learn more at japamachinery.com.
Thinking about solar power? Action Electrical wants to eliminate your entire home or business power bill and keep more cash in your pocket. With effective paybacks in 5 to 9 years, give solar a chance with Action and put your lazy roof to work. Alberta is the 2nd highest province for the amount of full sunlight hours, and with system life exceeding 25 years, solar power is like a McDavid draft pick. Still have questions about solar power? Contact the professionals at actionelectrical.net today. That's actionelectrical.net.
What you eating there?
Oh, just a Leon's $10,000 shopping spree in a Chevy Colorado.
How do you plan to get all that from a Big Mac?
Monopoly Double Play.
Monopoly Double Play?
First, I peel unpack, then I peel an app. 2 ways to play and win.
So basically, you're potentially holding the most lucrative Big Mac ever?
No, I'm potentially eating the most lucrative Big Mac ever.
Now you can double play at McDonald's for more ways to win millions of prizes. While supplies last, chances of winning change as prizes are claimed. Chances of winning McD's app prizes based on time of code entry. See rules at participating McDonald's in Canada or at mcdpromotion.ca.
Your old furnace can die in the blink of an eye, so why take that chance this winter? Eric Mikowski here, head of the family at Furnace Family. The time for a new furnace is now. Not only will you have peace of mind on those cold winter nights, you will save money on those super expensive gas bills. Unsure? Furnace Family can come check your furnace, and if you buy a new one from us, the check is free. Daikin has an industry-leading lifetime warranty on their heat exchangers. It could be the last furnace you ever buy. Visit furnacefamily.com. Jingle time.
Done right, day or night, furnacefamily.com.
The temperature's dropping, and so are the prices at Canadian Tire's biggest tire sale of the year. Save up to 25% on top brands like Motomaster, Bridgestone, and Michelin when you stop by Canadian Tire. Only from October 13th to November 2nd. Conditions apply. Details online.
First Round is Edmonton's NFL headquarters. Get in the game and watch NFL football this season at First Round, and you'll have a chance to win a trip to your favorite NFL city to watch a game in person next season. And the hits keep on coming with food and drink specials, big screen TVs, and more. Catch the Pro Bowl brunch every Sunday, Monday Night Football, and head in Thursdays for your chance to win an NFL replica helmet. NFL at First Round. Burgers, beer, sports. Downtown West Edmonton Mall and at 1strnd.ca.
When Ottawa's proposed electricity regulations make electricity unreliable, the things you rely on won't work when needed. Your hot water, computer, washer and dryer, electric car, TV, lights, mobile phone, stove, your heat in -30. Visit tellthefeds.ca to learn why Canada's power grid will be unreliable. And tell the feds, reliable and affordable electricity matters. A message from the government of Alberta.
What you eating there?
Oh, just a Leon's $10,000 shopping spree in a Chevy Colorado.
How do you plan to get all that from a Big Mac?
Monopoly Double Play.
Monopoly Double Play?
First, I peel on pack, then I peel an app. 2 ways to play and win.
So basically, you're potentially holding the most lucrative Big Mac ever?
No, I'm potentially eating the most lucrative Big Mac ever.
Now you can double play at McDonald's for more ways to win millions of prizes. While supplies last, chances of winning change as prizes are claimed. Chances of winning McD's app prizes based on time of code entry. See rules at participating McDonald's in Canada or at mcdpromotion.ca.
Don't let the darkness take over. Shed some light on mental health with the Canadian Mental Health Association. Stand up, step forward, and donate or volunteer at cmha.ca. Be the beacon of hope in someone's storm. Your involvement makes a difference.
Noah for Medicine Hat writes, Dear Canadian Tire, it's time for upgrades around the house and some upgrades in my toolbox. Any recos? The right tools make all the difference. Cliche, I know, but I once tried to hang curtains without a stud finder. Swiss cheese walls. That's why Canadian Tire carries a wide selection of the tools you need from brands like Mastercraft, Maximum, DeWalt, Bosch, and Stanley. Get everything you need for fall home maintenance at Canada's store. Visit CanadianTire.ca or the flyer for our top deals this week.
Denham Ford's roots run deep in the history of Central Alberta. Like always, you can experience the same honest pricing and honest service that you've come to expect from all of us at Denham Ford for the past 65 years. Denham Ford is proud to be Canada's only 50-time President award-winning dealership in customer satisfaction, treating every customer like family. Visit Denham Ford on the world-famous Wetaskiwin Auto Mile or from home at denhamford.ca.
Cars cost less than Wetaskiwin.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Papa John's. Try their new butter chicken pizza made with velvety, tangy, sweet sauce topped with juicy grilled chicken, green peppers, and onions. A large butter chicken pizza for $19.99 for a limited time at papajohns.ca.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
We continue on Wednesday afternoon, and congratulations. Andrew, you have qualified to help your neighbor. You go in the draw to win some tickets for yourself and the Ecobee Smart Thermostat, or the Google Nest, and most importantly, an opportunity where you can gift someone in your circle, coworker, family member, anybody, as long as they don't reside in your household and they own their own home, a brand new high-efficiency furnace from Legacy Heating and Cooling. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm excellent.
Right on.
Do you need a furnace at your place?
You know what? I actually do, but you know what? This is going to have to go to a buddy of mine.
Oh, okay. Oh, you already have someone in mind. I like it.
Well, you know, I live in an old neighborhood, so pretty much everyone around me needs a new one.
Oh, well, that's perfect. That's what you like. You know, you want to give it to somebody who really needs it, and they'll probably buy you at least a beer for doing it. I would think that could be a good trade-off. Do you have any suggestions on how the Oilers can win?
Oh boy, I don't, because I'm terrible at hockey, and I don't want to tell people what to do. But they do need to buckle down here and get some points.
It's very true, my man. I like your honesty. We'll stay on the line. Connor's going to go out your friend. Also, just for qualifying, you get to win one of the brand new exclusive Sports 1440 hats. So stay on the line for that as well.
Okay, thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
There you go. So we do that every day. And then we will have the grand prize draw on the Monday, the 20th of November. And man, that's a big package, man. Huge shout out to everybody at Legacy Heating for stepping up for the second year in a row and offering this package. It really can be life altering. Everybody remembers. I know many of you are listeners from the old station, and many of you remember listening to Kara last year when she won, and just how much of an impact it made for her and her two young daughters. And so hopefully we're hoping to have someone else who really needs a brand new furnace and a huge savings of $7,000 to get one of those put in and installed and everything, all the warranty, everything else. It's an amazing price. So keep staying tuned every day for your chance to qualify. Also, if you want to go to the Oiler game tomorrow night, Dougie Waite, Charlie Huddy, going into the Oilers Hall of Fame. We'll give you a chance coming up after 5 o'clock. First, though, let's get to 5 questions brought to you by The Brick. And today is the last day to scratch and save an additional 40% off the sticker price And when you scratch and save, there's $115,000 worth of instant prizes. Woo! Win couches, many things, lots of things. Check it out right now at The Brick and thebrick.com.
It's time for 5 questions on the Jason Gregor Show.
All right, Gregor, question number 1. I think there's a few you could choose from, but when you look at the Oilers game to start the season, what has been the most disappointing aspect for you?
Oh, that's a loaded question. How much time do we got? No, without a doubt, is their inability to just match the determination of their opposition. I'm sorry, I don't buy the, it's the system. It's the system. Give me a break. Half of their goals not even half. I would say, and I did it after the first 4 games, so I don't think it's changed much because I look at the Winnipeg game. One was a power play goal, so that doesn't count. One was shorthanded that had nothing to do with the system. Then the other one was 3-on-3. So, yeah, if you look at how many goals have come off the rush, not about defensive zone strategy, or guys just flat out not covering their man, which has nothing to do with the system, by the way. There's no system in the world of hockey that says don't cover the guy in front of the net. None. So I don't buy system play. I buy a lack of urgency and commitment and dedication collectively from the group as a concern.
Yeah, very similar for me. Just in their own end, just kind of like you say, it's not a system. It's pretty much basic hockey. You have to give a damn in your own end, and you have to, if you're, someone's skating open, try to take them away. Too many people watching the puck and letting oppositions skate around too easily. So, yeah, certainly in the defensive end, lots of things they need to clean up. Question number 2, Evan Bouchard. He's been becoming more and more of a whipping boy on social media. It seems like there's always one here in oil country. If you were the coaching staff, Manson and Jay Woodcroft, what's the plan with Evan Bouchard going forward, and how do you utilize him?
Well, I want to say one. I think it's always important to remember that social media isn't an equal representation of reality. Okay? Yes, Evan Bouchard can be a frustrating player at times. No question. He's not the only reason why the Oilers are 1-4-1. And the funny thing is, some of the goals are from him mishandling the puck, that's his best thing. That's not something you can just coach and change, right? Like, Evan Bouchard can handle the puck better than he's shown. So why is he lacking confidence? I have no idea. To me, all I would do with Evan Bouchard, I would do less is more. I would start him with Brett Kulak and let him gain his confidence. I keep him on the number 1 power play. Right? His offense is fine. His offensive game is actually great. I have no issues with Evan Bouchard on a team that has a lot of guys with goose eggs. Bouchard's contributing, right? So I have no problem with his offense. It's his defensive game. So I don't think his offensive game is going to be hurt if he's not taken off the power play. Right? He's got 8 points in 6 games. So just limit his minutes against the other team's better players, and you might even have more success. That's what I would do. Less can be more, and it doesn't mean, put guys into positions to succeed. Right now, having him play that many minutes against top minutes, it's just not helping. So figure out a way to lessen his minutes that can maybe increase his confidence.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you right there on that one. I mean, point-wise, he's on pace for 109 points. Obviously, he's not going to continue this well, but he's also on pace to be minus 109. So, it's limiting him, taking him out of those situations where he could hurt himself. And, maybe it's offensive zone. Maybe it's not going out there against the other team's top forwards. But let him utilize that power play. You can get some confidence there, and that can transition into 5-on-5. So, yeah, got to be careful with that one. You got a good text coming in here?
No, I'm just laughing at you and your numbers that you're pulling out. Oh, he's on pace for this many points. Oh, he's minus 121. Oh, my goodness.
I mean, could you imagine if he finished minus 109 with 109
well,
points?
Isn't he on pace, though, for the same points as minus? Because he's
109 both ways.
Oh, jeez.
I mean, if he scores 109 points.
And he's minus 109, that would be unbelievable.
People would have a conundrum there. Question number 3, reports out there that Henry Burris would like to become the next coach of the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Would you like that hire for the Riders?
It's an interesting question. So being a head coach, Henry Burris is somebody who I think he knows how to manage people, right? He's been a leader before. If Henry Burris is my head coach, he needs to have very good experienced OC and DC. Right? Because He's not going to suddenly come in. I don't think. Like, I wouldn't want Henry Burris as a rookie head coach who he's never had any other coaching experience, right? Hasn't been in OC or DC a lot of times. So am I going to be the head coach and the offense coordinator? No. If he wants to be the head coach and I'm an experienced DC and experienced OC, I could see it working.
Yeah, I'd be intrigued by it. I mean, he's cut his teeth coaching, right? He's been around the NFL for a while. I'd like to see how it would go being a former player. Like you say, he probably knows how to handle the relationships with the coaches and his players and things like that. So I would like to see it. I think it'd be kind of cool. Also, one little thing to the listeners, when you text in for the contest, make sure you give us your name so we can get you in there. You got to follow the instructions for that one. Question number 4, Gregor. Raptors kicking off.
There you go, people. Hey, if there's no rules, there's anarchy.
There's a lot of people that just texted in heating, and that's just not going to work for us. The Raptors get going in about 35 minutes here. How many wins do they finish with this season?
Oh, it's a good question. They had 40? Did they have 41 wins? 40 wins last year? I think it's 41. I think they were 500. I'm going to say the Raptors have 39 wins.
Yeah, I mean, Fred VanVleet's gone. That will be a little bit of a drop-off, obviously. Opportunity for others, perhaps. I'll say 40. I'll say they drop down to 40 and 42 on the season. And like Josh said, just get into that maybe 10th spot in the play-in game. Final question for you, Gregor. As the Outdoor Classic, the Heritage Classic approaches, which venue do you think would be the coolest to host an outdoor hockey game? And I'm not even just limiting this North America. You can go worldwide. Where would you like to see an outdoor hockey game?
I know people have talked about have it up in the mountains. The reason why you don't want to have it up there, you're going to really wreck a lot of nature. So, you can't have people out there. So I would scratch that. I would say, to me, if it's going to be a hockey game, it's got to be in a place where it can't be too warm. It doesn't work. So if I'm thinking European places, because, we've done all the major ones really in the U.S. I'm trying to think of a U.S. stadium that they haven't used yet. So I would like it probably. I want it in a hockey nation. Sorry. I would want it in Sweden or Finland, one of the two. I don't even care which facility, to be honest, because I know they don't have great outdoor stadiums, so that's probably not a great answer. But I'd want it somewhere where they appreciate hockey. You?
That's why I'm going Lambeau. Like maybe Wisconsin, the Badgers could make the trip out to Lambeau and host a game outside. I think under the lights, that would be really cool.
You know what? I went to Lambeau. It was one of the best sporting experiences of my life. That is a fantastic idea. Like, you could have unreal tailgating. Like, there's so much. That's a great answer. God, I wish I would have thought of that. It's an excellent answer. I like it. Yeah, it's a very good.
There's some good ones. Like, college football stadiums would be unreal. Like, you could go Ohio State, Michigan. I think Michigan had the outdoor game, right? But yeah, there's a lot of good venues you could do it.
Yeah. Okay. I like it. Let's get to Connor Halley and his Sports 1440 update, brought to you by the Edmonton Oilers Hall of Fame game tomorrow night, 7 p.m. against the New York Rangers. Well, that's when the ceremony starts for Doug Waite and Charlie Huddy. Be in your seats early. You don't want to miss it. There's limited tickets available. EdmontonOilers.com/tickets to see Huddy and Waite go up to the Hall of Fame, and then the Oilers versus the Rangers.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Just one game on the ice tonight in the NHLs. The Capitals taking on the Devils. That one gets going very quickly here. The Oilers back in action tomorrow, taking on the New York Rangers. The Toronto Raptors kick off their season tonight with the Minnesota Timberwolves in town. That one gets going at about 5:30, so about 30 minutes, give or take. The team also exercising the fourth-year option on Scotty Barnes, keeping him in Toronto through 2025. Elsewhere around the association, the Hornets will host the Hawks, Wizards in Indiana, Knicks take on the Celtics, Cavs traveling to Brooklyn, the Heat host the Pistons, Pelicans in Memphis, Jazz take on the Kings, Mavericks up against the Spurs, and the Clippers hosting the Portland Trailblazers. CFL teams announcing their nominees for the annual awards. Trey Ford was the Elks MOP and Most Outstanding Canadian nomination. And 2 games in the AJ tonight is Spruce Grove hosting Camrose out at Grant Fuhr Arena, and the Sherwood Park Crusaders hosting Bonnieville. Both those games starting at 7. Coming up in hour 4 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll be joined by Mark Spector of Rogers Sportsnet, as well as Nick from NHL Fantasy. I'm Connor Halley. This is the Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440 in West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin. CKJR is a Stingray radio station.
Download the free radio player app and listen wherever you go.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is the #1 place for people who want heating and cooling, because you'll save a bundle and get both with a heat pump. Then you can use hot, cold, hot, cold. Come on, thermostat, do what you're told. Turn up the heat, turn up the cold, so the vents stop pushing out tornadoes. Time for a heat pump, bring it to me! Gonna get a deal from Legacy! Your heat pump from Legacy will heat and cool while saving you a bundle in energy costs. Plus, you'll get a rebate up to $5,000 and no payments, no interest for 1 year. Legacy Heating and Cooling.
A solid financial plan is made up of more than just investments. Investments are an important part, but you need a more comprehensive approach. Roger Weird at Weird Pearson Akel & Associates Private Wealth Management understands that. He can help build a plan that includes retirement, estate planning, personal insurance, tax strategies, and yes, investments. Talk to him today and see the difference a real financial plan makes. Weird Pearson Akel & Associates. Call 780-988-4119 or visit weirdadvisoryteam.com.
With sport and group events returning, are you looking for safe and professional travel options? Look no further than Silent Rides, one of Alberta's premier bus charter companies. Whether your group is big or small, Silent Rides has you covered. We offer state-of-the-art motor coaches, first-class service, and affordable rates. Get your quote today. For more information, contact Ted Nakamura at 780-940-0880 or visit silentrides.ca.
Noah for Medicine Hat writes, Dear Canadian Tire, it's time for upgrades around the house and some upgrades in my toolbox. Any recos? The right tools make all the difference. Cliche, I know, but I once tried to hang curtains without a stud finder. Swiss cheese walls. That's why Canadian Tire carries a wide selection of the tools you need, from brands like Mastercraft, Maximum, DeWalt, Bosch, and Stanley. Get everything you need for fall home maintenance at Canada's store. Visit CanadianTire.ca or the flyer for our top deals this week.
The Canadian Boo House is back with its frightfully delightful with fun foolery and the finest Halloween hijinks. Boo House GCs to be won. $100, $250, even $500 as we ignite your fright night with shot specials of Jack Daniels and $1.50 off tankards of Blue Moon. Plus, freakishly delicious newfangled Frankendangle, only $5.99 all night long. The Boo Crew awaits you at your favorite haunt, the Canadian Brew House.
Winter weather is hard on your vehicle. Help keep it in top shape with the right oil from Jiffy Lube. Oil changes on your schedule and 25 bonus air miles with your Shell Go Plus app. Jiffy Lube, keeping you moving.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Roger Weird and his team at Weird Pearson Akel & Associates Private Wealth Management, helping business owners and professionals build, protect, and enjoy their wealth. Earn more now and call Roger and his team at 988-4119.
Sports Radio is back. The Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
We return on a busy Wednesday. How are you? Hope you made it through Hump Day. Now you're getting set for better things ahead. Sure what the orders are open for this week is be harder to get worse than last night. Oh my goodness. First period, all right. Second period, you're like, hey, goaltender made a few saves. All right. Buckle down in the third. First shift, nah. And then it just went crashing downhill from there. 5 goals. Now one's 5 goals in the third period, and you lose 7-4. That was not good. The Oilers have only scored 1 third period goal through 6 games. 1. They've got the second most in the first period. So starting isn't an issue. Finishing, big issue. Maintaining any sorts of continuity, big issue. Welcome back to the Gregor Show on Sports 1440, presented by PlayAlberta.ca. $50 million. Lotto Max, no one won it last night, so it's up to 50 G's on Friday, so plan ahead for that. Of course, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website where all the revenue stays right here in the province. PlayAlberta.ca. I'm Jason Gregor. He is Connor Halley. I've got a few new renovations here in the Ewell studio. It's looking great. We got a new TV coming. Can't wait for that. Woo! Be nice. So check it out. EWEL.ca for all your electrical needs. Maybe we'll talk to the group down there, Dave and everybody, see if they can get a spark, a jolt to the orders. Now, let's get to a guy who is, he's always worth a jolt of energy. The Spec Report brought to you by GS Construction. And hey, you want to work for a fantastic company? Trust me, great culture. Everybody loves the work system there. They got no problems with it. Go to Indeed.com and look up GS Construction as Mark Spector joins us. I know, Spec, everybody keeps talking about the system. I have to say, I'm tired of the system talk. They played against Winnipeg. They had no problem playing a hockey game. And then to me, it's not the system. Last night, you can't cover guys in front of the net. There's no system on planet NHL that says don't cover guys in front of the net. You don't pinch at the blue line on a 4-on-4. We go down the list here. Like this is a lack of focus for many different players at many different times.
Yeah, it's too much puck watching in the defensive zone. Too many guys not taking care of the guy they're standing next to. I mean, this system, there's all this talk about system, and I'm with you. I'm sick of hearing about it. The system has Edmonton players right next to opponents, and then when a loose puck occurs, the opponent's gone. They got the puck, and they're scoring a goal. Have you noticed how many goals get scored with an Oiler trailing in the vapor of the guy that's scoring it? That's because they didn't check, right? You can defend, but you got to check. You got to have your guy. So when a puck comes loose, when Matthias Ekholm was standing next to who scored the goal on the Campbell choke, Campbell gave that puck up last night, hopped over a stick to Hartman.
Yeah.
Ekman's standing next to Hartman. The system's got him in the right place, but he's not checking him. The puck pops loose. Hartman's got all night. He's free. He's not being checked, right? Bouchard's standing next to a guy at the very start of the game, the first goal that Minnesota scores. Bouchard's in position. The system's working, but he's not checking him. So, yeah, it's not the system. It's the people trying to execute the system, Jason.
Oh, buddy, I'm 100% with you. It's frustrating. And, the players themselves, they got to wake up from it. Now you spoke to Woodcroft today. Unfortunately, I couldn't be there. I had a previous engagement. And what did you sense from Woodcroft? I know he's an ultimate positive guy, but do you see, are you hearing, is he getting frustrated?
No, he's not. If he is, he's not giving any of those vibes out. In fact, he's trying to paint a fairly positive picture, and I don't blame him. I'm not knocking him for that. That's what coaches do. The old school coaches used to belie their emotions a little more than Jay Woodcroft does. But if that's his style, that's his style. He was telling us how heading into last night's game, they'd only given up one goal, which he called a defensive goal. Only one defensive goal in the first 5 periods, and first 5 games. And I thought, man, that must be an awfully streamlined definition of whatever a defensive goal is. And, we asked him about that, and he said, well, this one came off the rush, and that one came off a turnover, and that one came off of this, and this one came off of that. So, listen, pal, I mean, a defensive, I don't know I think they're all defensive goals in a lot of ways, but, I've seen the same mistakes made.
Yes. Well, I agree with you, but I agree that this, I would say this, though. I would have asked him about the Eriksson Ek goal, because that's the one where it looked like, okay, so you have guys close, so no one read the play well, but what do you want in that position? Do you want your defenseman to go out to the boards? What do you want to do? That's the one goal that I'm going to ask about tomorrow when I get there, because that to me would be one. I'm like, would that fall under the defensive one? I get what he says. Like when Bouchard treats it like a grenade in the corner, it goes off the end boards, and that's nothing about the defensive system, right? You talked about Ekholm and Bouchard goals early on in front of the net. That's not the defensive system. So, and I went through all the goals in the Vancouver games, like goals off the rush, penalty kill goals are obviously different than 5-on-5 systems. Shorthanded goals, when you gift them the goal, they don't count either. And so I actually don't think that there's been a lot of plays where, okay, now we're playing defense here for 20 or 30 seconds and we're getting killed. That's not what's happening here. Like they're just allowing the other team in the offensive zone, short period of time, boom, goal.
Yeah. one mistake, and it's a man left uncovered. I mean, the Bouchard play on the game, I guess it was the fourth goal, the go-ahead goal, where he couldn't handle the dump in. How could you can't blame a team or a system for that, right?
Yeah.
The one player doesn't make the play. He's far too lackadaisical on that puck. Tic-tac-toe, it's in the net. It's just a guy. I don't get how Bouchard can be so aware. He's always got his head up in the offensive zone. He knows where everyone is on the ice in the offensive zone. He could see he's an excellent offensive player. He hangs onto the puck. He's got patience. And the minute he goes over the red line into the defensive zone, it's like some switch flicks and he loses all those skills and he becomes a completely different player. It amazes me how the same guy can have those skills in the offensive zone and lack them so overtly in the defensive zone.
Well, and that's, to me, like he's got 8 points in 6 games. Offensively, he's the second highest scoring defenseman in the NHL. So he's doing something right. So people who just want to get rid of him, like, okay, pump the brakes. But isn't it upon coaching then? Isn't it upon coaching then to look and say, okay, he's helping us in the offensive zone. He's not helping us in the defensive zone. So let's play him in the third pair to start here. He can still run the power play, right? We can still put him out for offensive zone starts, wear off of faceoffs, because that's the one area of the Oilers game that was great last night. Was they were great off faceoffs that led to 3 goals. So you can still do all that, Spec, but you got to protect the team. And it's not like he's suddenly going to go from 19 minutes to 14, right? Like we're talking probably 1 or 2 minutes less of 5-on-5 play overall, but it'll be against lesser competition is the bigger difference. And to me, I would strongly consider looking at that.
Well, it's really a lesson too, Jay, in the path that a player ascends at. Bouchard, remember 2 years ago, he wasn't playing and we all said, you got to play this guy more, and they didn't play him enough. And then they played him last year, and then Ekholm came along and they played him with Ekholm, and all of these things we're criticizing him for went away, right? He's pretty good in the playoffs. He was very good down the stretch. He was a good defenseman in his own zone. He's never going to be, Jason Smith in his own zone, but he was a much better player last year. Now a new season starts and you think, oh boy, he's got more experience. He's going to be even better. And he's not. He's taken a step back here early on, at least defensively. I have absolutely no doubt. Like, we watched him be a better defensive defenseman last season. He'll get it back. It's there. He's done it. He'll turn back into the player we watch. He's going to be a good defenseman. Anyone who wants to get rid of him doesn't know what the hell they're talking about. But this is the time when you need, Rome's burning a little bit here, pal. We need guys individually to step up if this team's going to get turned around. And number 2 is absolutely, definitely one of them.
Yeah, no, there's very few guys, Spec, that you would look in the room and say, hey, that guy's been great. Right? There's not a lot of those guys. There's some like, hey, Warren Fogle, good for him. Warren Fogle is he's elevated. He's getting an opportunity, played well. And I'll say this, Spec, I know as I was critical. So Matthias Janmark showed why he was ahead of Dylan Holloway yesterday. He played way better than Dylan Holloway.
Yeah. I had no problem. He's always going to be Matthias Janmark when he breaks in on net. He doesn't have the same hands that, a first line player has. That's why he's not a first line player. But in that configuration, listen, offensively, they scored 4 goals in a tough building for them on the road. That's enough to win, right? The game was absolutely lost within 10 feet of their own net last night. So, I don't mind. I didn't mind Janmark's game at all. I didn't mind Holloway's game either. I think he's in the right spot.
Looking ahead to tomorrow, you got the New York Rangers coming to town. They're a team that can play run and gun. They got a lot of offense. They got a good defense, but they can also give up some goals. Like this, in theory, it should be an entertaining game, Spec, and it's who Jekyll and Hyde's going to show up, because in 4 of the Oilers games, in the other 2 games, I thought they played quite well. So which group is going to decide to show up tomorrow? That's the major question. And I honestly, I can't even predict. I have no idea. Like the first period Oilers last night, I was like, okay, they look all right. Second period, geez, the goalie's starting to look okay. And then, it was absolutely just a barfarama in the third period.
Yeah. I haven't seen and it's a good team. Like, history is going to play out here, Jay. The Oilers are going to do what the Oilers are going to do. And put me on the record today on October 25th. They're going to make the playoffs still. I'm going to tell you my pick for them to win the Pacific. I'm not sure I'd make that pick again on October 25th, but I have them today. I think they'll put this thing together. I've looked at rosters for a long, long, long time up and down, and I see a pretty strong roster. I see a lot of good players. I don't see a roster where enough of these guys can play poorly enough by their own standard that they won't make it. So that's great. But, it's got to happen here. It's got to start. It's got to turn around. Like that game last night, it was really disconcerting to see that level of deconstruction in the third period. So maybe they could have lost. Like, I'm not saying the other team's trying to. I always tell you that. But to fall apart the way they fell apart, that was disconcerting. It was very concerning. That made me, I shook my toque a little bit when I watched that because, 4 goals in the third period plus an empty netter. They absolutely fell to pieces, and that's not something I thought I'd see.
Yeah, you're right. That, you know what? Now, maybe it's because it's Minnesota, because basically Minnesota is to the Oilers what the Oilers are to Nashville right now. Like, they just can't beat them. It doesn't matter what they do. But it was an ugly third period, no question. And so, like, if you're Jay Woodcroft, Spec, you only have 18 skaters, right? You can't bench anyone in the press box. But do you see at what point do you think there has to be like a significant message sent from the head coach?
Yep. We're in message territory. If I'm coaching the team, and I admire, like, all of us in the media, I think, we're kind of here, and I think the fans run hotter than the media generally. Fans are firing coaches and kicking players off the team, and I love it. Like, that's what it's all about, being a fan. I think us media guys, we're sort of next, and then coaches are generally very patient, more patient than I am, Jason, right? I'm always like, oh man, you got to do something. And they're always kind of sticking with the process. So I'm here to tell you that certainly if Mark Spector's the head coach, it's time to, the next guy that goes out and stands next to an opponent and watches him tip a puck in while he's not engaged with that player and checking him, that guy sits for a period on my bench. Maybe that's why I'm not a coach, Jay. Maybe that's why. But I'm here to tell you, we've hit that point. Watching guys and saying that's not up to our standard after the game, I think we got to be getting past that at some point, don't we? I'm kind of sick of the standard. The standard right now, the standard ain't very high for what I've been seeing.
And Spec, sorry, you weren't on earlier, but Connor had asked me a question, and I'd Googled it and forgot, but because it was asked, where's an outdoor game? And Sweden and Finland both have actually really good outdoor Olympic stadiums, Connor. So I'm sticking with my choice of where I'd want an outdoor game. So there we go. So nice. And our good friend Yoni had sent me a picture as well. So attaboy, Yoni. Appreciate it.
Always trust Yoni for the
Finnish. Oh yeah, he knows. Definitely don't trust him around vodka, but anything else you can trust him. So that's good. Spec, have yourself a great day, and we'll chat with you tomorrow.
All right, looking forward to tomorrow, Dave. It's gonna be fun, Jay. It's gonna be a fun day down there with Dougie Waite going in. And, there's a bit of a press conference, I think 12 or something like that. So it'll be fun. Billy Guerin's down there. I talked to George Larac today. He's on his way into town. So a bunch of alumni are coming. It'll be a fun day at the rink tomorrow.
Yeah, there's quite a few guys coming in. I know Torres is coming in, as you mentioned, and
is he?
Yeah, I got a list of a few other guys that are going to be in town tomorrow. And
I'll keep my head up because Torres doesn't like me much. So
he'd never throw an elbow back.
I was unfortunately covering the playoffs when he was throwing those high hits for Chicago, and they were suspending him right out of the game. And that was unfortunately, I had to write about those, and I don't think he loved my take on those hits. But hey, if every guy in the dressing room loves you, Jay, you're not doing your job.
Touche. Have a good one, Spec.
All right.
That is Mark Spector from Rogers Sportsnet. We'll return. Nick Alberga is going to join us, talk a little fantasy hockey. You've had a few weeks now. I know many of you were into, the daily fantasy. Of course, I know some of you because you'd be like, hey, guys, like, this is great to have 16 games. Now there's only one the next night. It's kind of tough. So we're going to talk about a few players to watch for around the NHL to help you in your fantasy hockey. And just if you like stats, because there's some very interesting stats. Speaking of stats, did you know the Edmonton Oilers tied an NHL record last night? They became the 8th team in NHL history, first team since the Phoenix Coyotes in 2012 to have 3 too many men on the ice penalties in the same game. Oiler fans, remember, the Coyotes went all the way to the conference final in 2012. Dare to dream. Dare to dream. We'll return on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca, live on Sports 1440 and Oilers Nation YouTube.
At The Brick, we're not just proud of this city and its rich sports history. We're proud partners of it. The Brick started right here in Edmonton over 50 years ago. And when we're not cheering on the Oilers and Oil Kings live at the game, or the Edmonton Elks under the bright stadium lights, we're in our stores, providing everything you need to cheer them on in your home. The Brick, supporting Edmonton sports teams and fans since 1971, saving you more.
How exciting is it to have Sports Talk Radio back in Edmonton?
Tie game, bottom of the ninth with a full count. The kick, the pitch. It's high, it's far, it is gone! Walk-off home run!
Yeah, it's pretty much like that. Edmonton Kubota is excited to welcome back Sports Talk Radio, Sports 1440. We'll be dialed in for every minute. Get it done, and then some, at Edmonton Kubota. All compact BX tractors on sale with 0% financing for 84 months. Stop by on 128th Ave or visit EdmontonKubota.com.
Corporate Business Solutions is celebrating 22 years of local service, local support, local always. Established in 2001, Corporate Business Solutions has grown to become the largest Konica Minolta digital office equipment dealer in Western Canada. When you call CBS, you'll always speak with a live person, just like you and your business deserve. Thank you to our loyal customers for their 22 years of continued support. Our success is owed to you. For local service, local support, local always. Call 780-490-5600 or visit cbsca.com.
Hi, Dennis from Weiss Johnson. Are you one of those people out there looking for something different to heat and cool your home? Weiss Johnson is Edmonton's cold climate heat pump specialist and would love to explain to you how Trane heat pumps are a reliable, cost-effective alternative for your home's heating and cooling needs. Order your Trane heat pump now and take advantage of the generous government rebates that are available. Trane, it's hard to stop a Trane. Call the most experienced HVAC company around with over 45 years in business. Visit wjcools.com today.
Bringing every project to life requires the right team. By joining the Japa Machinery Group service or sales teams, you can be part of setting a new industry standard. Celebrating a legacy of excellence with Japa. Learn more at japamachinery.com.
There's 2 seasons in Alberta, winter and construction. During these days of traffic barricades and slower commutes, GS Construction reminds you those crews are improving our communities. They're rehabilitating and upgrading Edmonton's infrastructure all across the city. When you see the barricades and run into a traffic backup, remember, the crews are there to help. Drive slow and be patient. Help make our city better and join the GS Construction team. See what they're hiring for on Indeed.com. GS Construction, laying the groundwork for your community since 1974.
Like we always do with this time.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Cantork. We've continued developing tools and are excited to announce our newest design, battery-powered nut runners. 4 models from 500 to 3,000 foot-pounds with more on the way. Learn more at cantork.com.
Sports Radio is back. The Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
COD won't even get pulled over in they new V. The good life. Let's go on a living spree. They say the best things in life are free.
5:25. Welcome back. We had a lot of texts. Hey, boys, did I miss a contest today from Fred? No, Fred. Well, maybe you did miss it, but yes, we did it in the 4 o'clock hour. And Andrew was our qualifier today. We'll do another one tomorrow. And, but you didn't miss your chance to go to the Oiler game tomorrow night. Ooh, how about that? Courtesy of the Edmonton Oilers Community Foundation. We have a pair of suites. Now, these are sweet seats, man. Comes with food and everything. Right, Cons? They're in the Sportsnet Club, are they not?
Believe so. They're
Jeez. It's pretty good.
We just had Good Life coming back, the music. You'll be living the good life tomorrow.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So, if you want to go, how can we do this? You know what? Maybe we'll do trivia in the final segment of the show today. So stay tuned. We'll do a little trivia. It won't be too hard. It'll be Oilers trivia. Okay? And one of you is going to win sweet pair of seats to go to the game tomorrow. Doug Wade, Charlie Huddy Hall of Fame game. Pretty nice. Now, let's get to the fantasy report brought to you by Next Gen Transportation, heavy haul transport provider, and now home to an Olympian. Big shout out to Devo McEwen because, man, he made it. He's been training kind of quietly, pushing for the bobsleigh team, and he made it. So that's pretty outstanding. Currently in Windsor right now. So big shout out to everybody there. I know they're pretty fired up at Next Gen Transportation. As we welcome in, talk a little fantasy hockey with a good friend of the show, Nick Alberga, from NHL Fantasy on Ice podcast, also from the Nation Network. Nick, how you doing, my man?
I'm much better here in Toronto than you guys in Edmonton. I'll say that. How are you?
Oh, yeah. Well, Oiler fan, I'm all right, but yeah, Oiler fans are a little hot on the collar right now, and rightfully so. Their team is off to a brutal start. So I do have to ask you, because from a fantasy perspective, Evan Bouchard, he's got 8 points. He's got 2 goals, got 6 assists, but he's -8. How does do a lot of fantasy leagues use plus minus, Nick, or is that kind of just too passe?
It's kind of getting passe. I think some leagues I'm in specifically do, but Evan Bouchard is a big time asset, obviously in fantasy hockey right now, just because of the point production when McDavid's healthy, the 5-on-5, the power play utilization, PP1 QB. I mean, it was a blessing when Tyson Barrie, of course, was dealt to the Nashville Predators. So yeah, I know the plus minus hasn't been great thus far, but the fact that he's an offensive dynamo is good news to the years of fantasy owners.
Yeah, I would think so. So he's definitely not someone early on. Now, there's always early season trends, Nick, and I know you'll have studied all this stuff. You look at some of the early season guys. Like a lot of people thought Jack Hughes was going to have a good start. He's obviously the greatest start ever for a New Jersey Devil player to have 14 points in the first 5 games. But Larkin, DeBrincat, like these guys are red hot. How many of them do you think, like when we look, how hot do you think Larkin and DeBrincat are going to stay?
So it's funny you asked that question because the other night I was watching a network that's not ours, so I don't have to publicize them, but somebody went on air and was advising the public to bet on Alex DeBrincat to win the Rocker Richard Trophy, which I thought was just ridiculous to begin with because there's so many prolific snipers in this league. But to answer your question, I think DeBrincat's been a top fantasy file for many years now. Quite frankly, I just don't think he wanted to be an Ottawa Senator, and not that he didn't play his hardest, but again, the motivation is there. He's back home in Detroit. It's like Batman and Robin right now. We're seeing with Larkin and DeBrincat. They've combined for 27 points so far here in the early season. It's a great story. I mean, to expect this to continue is probably unlikely. There's got to be a bit of regression here, but certainly I could see breakout numbers for both of these guys. I think at the very least, I think we've learned that Detroit will score goals. I still have my reservations about the crease. Can they keep the puck out of the net? I know a lot of people are jumping the gun a bit and saying, hey, Detroit should be in the playoffs now. I can't go that far. But yeah, it's been great stories. And DeBrincat's a guy I actually identified in somebody I wanted to draft. So I was happy to get him in a couple of keeper leagues because he's ripping it up. The guy's happy. Like these guys are smiling. And I said this on the show the other day. I just feel for Ottawa Senators fans who this is the guy that Pierre Dorion traded for. And now he's not producing the way you expected him last year. And then you see what happens here in Detroit, right?
Yeah, well, hey, being happy where you're at can make a big difference for anyone. And now he's a streaky scorer. The guy scored 40 goals before, so you know what? It's proven that he can do it. And so, you know what? We'll see how it continues. The Rocket Richard might be a little bit much, but hey, he's got now he's 2 up on Matthews. That's the thing. Like Matthews had 6 in the first 2. Then he went a few games without a goal. Then he scored last night. Sam Reinhart, though, in Florida, very quietly off to a 7-goal start.
You know why? Contract year. This is another guy. So another one of my strategies in fantasy hockey that I just love hammering guys in contract years. It doesn't always work out, but I think it's a good calculated risk is Sam Reinhart, taking nothing away from the guy. But again, he is coming off a disappointing season by his standards. And then magically, boom, it's a contract year and he's having an unreal start, which is great news for the Panthers. Obviously, without guys like Montour in the lineup right now, Gustav Forsling's running their first power play unit. Ekblad's out, Sam Bennett's out. So this is good news for the Panthers that they're getting the production because I look now and Matthew Tkachuk hasn't scored a goal yet. So where would this team be without Sam Reinhart? But he's certainly for rest of season purposes. If you had a question out there and you're listening or watching and wondering what you should do with Sam Reinhart, I would hold on to him because I do project a big monster season. Again, he wants to put himself in line to get paid here, right?
Nick Alberga joins us. Now, Nick, what about like non-top guys that are, quietly maybe, there's 700 guys in the league, so people aren't going to know everybody. And they're like, geez, like, who's a waiver wire guy maybe I could go look at right now? Because, unless you're playing daily fantasy, then obviously that's different for DeBrincat and those guys. But if you're playing maybe in a season-long pool, and you know what, you've had somebody who's off to a slow starter, there's some guys down the lineup that you think, hey, here's somebody to go pluck.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it all deals with like ownership and Yahoo standard leagues. Like I play Yahoo, whatever you play. Like I think there are guys who are already available. You can look at the Colorado Avalanche first and foremost. I will gladly do some work in their top 6 right now. When you look at Lehkonen, McKinnon, Nichushkin, Tatar, Johansson, Rantanen, the 2 guys that stick out for me that are going to be available for fantasy owners are going to be Ryan Johansson coming over from the Nashville Predators, of course, and a guy like Thomas Tatar. I like that fit there in the top 6. I know we talked about it a couple of weeks ago. Jonathan Drouin could have been a guy that could flourish in that role, but he's now on the 3rd line. So those 2 guys specifically I would look at. Even Vegas and their unbelievable start guys like Chandler Stevenson has 7 points in 7 games. William Karlsson has 7 and 7. Paul Cotter scored an unbelievable goal last night in that win against the Philadelphia Flyers. I would look there. Even with the Boston Bruins, they're not scoring as much as the other 2 undefeated teams, but Matthew Poitras has been a great story. 3 goals in the past 2 games. And elsewhere, I would look at a guy like Frankie Vetrano with the Anaheim Ducks. I like his deployment with McTavish and Strome there on the second line, I guess we'll call it, for the Ducks. Scores the game winner last night. If you're looking at shot on goal in that prop on the betting market, he always seems to hit. It's 5 straight. He's hit over 2.5, 24 shots in the last 5. Evan Rodriguez is another great fit. A great utility sort of type player with the Florida Panthers. Nick Paul with Tampa. Ryan Hartman, his second career 5-point night last night, as you guys saw. And Shane Gostisbehere, to me, has been a brilliant story because I sort of wondered, Greg's, about that fit in Detroit. But it seems to be a theme around this league. Teams running with 2 defensemen on PP1. We're seeing that right now with the Red Wings with Mo Seider and Shane Gostisbehere.
One thing we are seeing, Nick, if you want to win in the NHL, limit goals against. Dallas is 4-0-1, 2 goals against. Colorado 6-0, 2 goals against. Vegas is 7-0, 1.86 goals against. And the Boston freaking Bruins are 6-0 and a 1.17 goals against average. It's like the Boston Bruins, man. I think they've won 21 of their last 22 regular season games. Like, it's freakish how good they are in the regular season right now.
Yeah, and I tried yesterday to like temper expectations on Boston, but I got to give that team credit because I cover a team in the Maple Leafs, as you know, and they always seem to play bad against inferior opponents. I mean, it's been a very lax schedule, we'll say, for Boston. They beat Chicago twice, Nashville, San Jose, the LA Kings, the Anaheim Ducks. So I think the proof will be in the pudding over the next couple of weeks. I think their first big game is coming up against Detroit. They got the Leafs coming up as well. So we'll see what happens there, but you're so right. And I think to tie it over to fantasy hockey too, like my general philosophy when it comes to goaltending in October is just like, I go in every season knowing my goaltenders are going to get lit up. I think you look around this league and we're seeing it in Edmonton. You mentioned it earlier on before I came on. It's been a tire fire defensively, but I think over an 82 game slate, things will rectify themselves. I just think you have to take a bit of a wait and see approach to some of these teams. And it's not like it's just bad teams with bad net mining right now. Like there's good teams out there, the Oilers, the Leafs to an extent. There's other teams that have really, really struggled to get a save. But I will just tell you that it seems to be a league-wide trend every year in the month of October.
Yeah, that's fair to say. Is there anybody who's off to a slow start that you're still buying high on, that you'd say, hey, this is the guy, go out and trade for him from someone else because they're mad at him? Because usually that's where mistakes are made, is when the emotional trade happens in fantasy.
Oh, I'm seeing it already. It's like, again, even and Aaron Bordato is my producer with the Leaf Show and obviously a big time Oilers fan, Oilers After Dark, check that out. But it's 6 games. Like, let's relax, people. I understand we're losing our minds over the Edmonton Oilers, but you still possess the best player on the planet. Like, things will, over an 82 game slate, they're going to figure it out. I think the Oilers are going to be fine. To answer your question, like the 2 names that stuck out when you asked it, like Jason Robertson's off to a so-so start by his standards, I would say, with the Dallas Stars. Now, a lot of it had to do with Roope Hintz not being healthy to start the year, but I would definitely look at a guy like that. I think it's going to be tough to buy low on some of these guys because of the resume, the body of work. And the other guy is like a Tage Thompson. If you want to have success in pulling off maybe a buy low move, maybe a Connor Hellebuyck, if you feel good about the Winnipeg Jets figuring things out over the next couple of weeks. It's been an up and down start for them defensively. You want to talk about a goalie who's had a rough start, notwithstanding, of course, the last couple games. I would look at him. Washington scares the hell out of me. I won't lie. Like Alex Ovechkin scores last night. He had 13 shots on goal in that game. So if you have shots on goal, maybe you identify him as a trade target. But I just think they're slow and they're old and they just don't look like the same Capitals team that we've been accustomed to seeing over the last couple of years. But those are probably the two names like I think can be had right now in the trade market just because I think a lot of people are down on them.
Nick, great stuff, my man. Always good to talk to you. We'll talk to you again soon. Have a good one.
Sounds good. Thanks for having me. Take care.
There you go. That is Nick Alberta. Join us. A really good rundown if you're into fantasy, man. So now's the time. Now's the time. Capitalize on the person who's too highly emotional. Because we're all like that. I play fantasy sports, and I've made some terrible trades early in the year sometimes. Looking back on it, just be like, what are you doing? So you get a little bit, or you put a guy on waivers, 4 weeks into the year because you got to claim this other guy. And then, 2 weeks later, the guy's doing exactly what you drafted him for. It's the worst. So I've learned to be a lot more patient on the waiver wire specific in fantasy. When we're going to come back, we're going to play a little trivia. So 833-401-1440 in our Jiffy Lube inbox. And be sure, hey, remember, winterize. Plan ahead. Get your vehicles. You want to feel good. Your vehicle wants to feel good. So get the proper oil change right now at Jiffy Lube. JiffyLubeService.ca. 833-401-1440. We'll play a little trivia, and you could be going to the Oilers and Rangers tomorrow night. 833-401-1440. Call us now.
One call does it all. Action Electrical is proud to celebrate 50 years of providing complete electrical services and a full circle of care, including projects, service, TAG, and energy. From humble beginnings in a small Sherwood Park basement to a family-run business, the Action Electrical stamp can be found on some of the most iconic schools, office buildings, and warehouses across Canada. From conception to completion and beyond, contact
the professionals
at actionelectrical.net today.
A solid financial plan is made up of more than just investments. Investments are an important part, but you need a more comprehensive approach. Andy Akel at Weird Pearson Akel & Associates Private Wealth Management understands that. He can help build a plan that includes retirement, estate planning, personal insurance, tax strategies, and yes, investments. Talk to him today and see the difference a real financial plan makes. Weird Pearson Akel & Associates. Call 780-988-4119 or visit weirdadvisoryteam.com.
Some things just work together. Sticks and pucks, cleats and AstroTurf. Your love for the game and Papa John's passion for better ingredients, better pizza. Nothing pairs with the game like Papa John's. Crafted with signature sauce, toppings, and original fresh dough. They're the champion of pizza. And now you're the champion of winning deals. Just order at papajohns.ca. Use promo code SPORTS20 and score 20% off any regular menu price order. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's. That's SPORTS20.
Five-time Alberta Junior Hockey League champions, the Spruce Grove Saints are celebrating their 20th season in Spruce Grove. Be part of the action and enjoy some of the best Junior A hockey Canada has to offer by experiencing a Saints game for your next outing. Tickets range from $9 to $15 with free parking and some of the best food and drink specials in town. For more information on tickets and how you can become a partner, go to sprucegrovesaints.ca.
Denim Ford's roots run deep in the history of Central Alberta. Like always, you can experience the same honest pricing and honest service that you've come to expect from all of us at Denim Ford for the past 65 years. Denim Ford is proud to be Canada's only 50-time President Award-winning dealership in customer satisfaction, treating every customer like family. Visit Denim Ford on the world-famous Wetaskiwin Auto Mile or from home at denimford.ca.
When Ottawa's proposed electricity regulations make electricity unreliable, the things you rely on won't work when needed. Your hot water, computer, washer and dryer, electric car, TV, lights, mobile phone, stove, your heat in -30. Visit tellthefeds.ca to learn why Canada's power grid will be unreliable. And tell the feds, reliable and affordable electricity matters. A message from the Government of Alberta.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Crystal Glass, the clear choice for all your auto, residential, and commercial glass. Call 310-GLASS or book now at crystalglass.ca.
Hat tricks, touchdowns, and home runs. Get it all with the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Get up, stand up, come up, put your hands up if you got the feeling. Jump up, touch the ceiling, monsters of fun club. Someone's fucking jump, yeah, I'll bust them in the eye. And then I'll take the punks out, feeling funky. Amps in a junk, and I got more rhymes in this cops that are junkie.
Oh, it's a great tune, buddy. Welcome back. Wednesday edition of the Gregor Show on Sports 1440 live on Oilers Nation YouTube. And hey, you know what? You're still frustrated. We get it. We understand it. And that's why you're a sports fan. Because if you didn't care, why would you watch? Right? You wouldn't be listening to this station right now if you weren't a sports fan. It's fantastic. So we appreciate you having you. 833-401-1440. We are going to play a little trivia right now. Why? Because you are going to go to the game tomorrow night, courtesy of the Edmonton Oilers Community Foundation. All right? Got a pair of seats, sweet seats. They also get the meal in the Sportsnet Lounge. Nice. So be sure to get there early. You want to be in your seats at 6:55 because the ceremony starts right around 7 o'clock. Doug Waite, Charlie Huddy. Let's play a little trivia today. We don't want to make it too difficult, so we'll see how you do. Let's go to John. John, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
John, I'm excellent. Mark Spector, actually, I was seeing the article way back when, back in March of 1993. Doug Waite was acquired, came to Edmonton in a trade. Who did Edmonton trade to acquire Doug Waite?
That was Esa Tikkanen.
Ooh, buddy, good memory. Yes, indeed. It was Esa Tikkanen. And Specs headline was Tick traded, Oilers gained some weight. Oh, Spec didn't write that. He's not witty enough to do it. Maybe Gene was his editor at the time. We'll see. But congratulations. Can you go to the game tomorrow?
Oh, I sure can. I could be there.
All right. Well, stay on the line because Connor's got to get all your information. He's going to be able to transfer you the tickets, the wonders of technology nowadays. And you'll be going to the game. Get there early because you got some food with it.
Okay. Thank you.
There you go, Johnny. Remembering the Esa Tikkanen. When you look back at trades, like that trade worked out. Hey, it worked out for the Rangers. They won the cup. It worked out quite well for the Edmonton Oilers. The Oilers, you know what? They were in the midst. That was the first year of them being bad, and then the next few were terrible. But then Doug Waite, he was their leading scorer for 7 out of their 8 seasons. The only season he didn't lead them in scoring was when he got injured and only played 47 games. And that was a fantastic trade for the Edmonton Oilers. Worked out very well. You got a guy who's going now in their Hall of Fame. He's very well spoken. Him and his wife Allison did lots in the community. It's great. Hey, Greggs, that was way too easy. Norman to comment. Hey, Norm, I never said it was going to be that difficult. Well, we're kind of in a giving mood, right? Trust me, there's days when I'll make the trivia questions harder. I'm all for that. But today I was like, you know what? Let's make it a little bit easier. So there you go. So now let's get. We're going to get into the Oilers locker room, courtesy of Ewell. Go to ewel.ca. And we're going to start, man, with the record that you don't want to set, but the Oilers have now tied. They didn't set it. They tied the NHL record for most too many men on the ice penalties in a single game. The Oilers didn't have another minor penalty that put them down. Now, Desharnais and Foligno had coincidentals. Kane had a fight. But the only penalties to put the Oilers shorthanded, too many men. Too many men. Too many men. Are you freaking kidding me? So here's Woodcroft on the too many men penalties.
Well, I think obviously there was some miscommunication with some guys. Some guys jumping on when their check or their change didn't fully come off the bench. There was actually 4 in the game, Reed. I don't know if you saw that, but the other team got called too. So it seemed to be a focal point. I don't think the people who jumped on affected the play or anything like that, but there was certainly a violation. In the end, you're responsible for jumping on for the people that you're changing for, and we can do a better job.
To put it gently, they can do a better job. Do you think those mental errors are a symptom of the funk that the team is in right now?
Well, in the end, you are individually responsible for jumping on the ice for your change. So it's important that you're clear on who you're changing for. Now, things alter when you're 11 forwards and 7D, because sometimes forwards are being asked to play maybe not their natural position. We pride ourselves on making sure we're clear on who's where and whatnot. In the end, it's an individual error. We can clean it up for sure.
Yeah, well, come on. And the thing was, they could have been called a few other times last night, right? And they almost gave up a goal. Remember Ekholm and Desharnais? That terrible change almost cost a goal. So, yeah, it was not a good night. He was asked, are there differences? I don't even want to ask this question, but hopefully those will cure things. Is there a significant difference between this year's system and last year's?
I wouldn't say that's the word that we would use. I think it is a different system. It's a system that was embraced by everybody in our organization as an area we wanted to go to. I think, as I said, through 5 games of the regular season, we gave up 1 goal in that coverage in the defensive zone. Yesterday, we gave up a few. Certainly, we can be better. But for me, anytime you're working through a new way of doing things, there's growing pains. But like I said, through 5 games, we gave up 1 goal.
Well, through 5. Last night, I thought there was at least 1, potentially 2. And again, and I agree. I think too many people are just repeating system. It's a new system. Because I don't want to admit that some of the players aren't playing well enough collectively as a group. They've had way too many blatant breakdowns off. Look at the odd man rushes they're giving up. Terrible. Look at the unforced errors on goals this season. Crucial goals. Think about it. Skinner, unforced error. Bouchard, unforced error. Go down the list. I'm not picking on those guys. I'm just pointing out goals at crucial times that were unforced errors. Right? You need to protect the puck better. And I think it's fair to say Evan Bouchard's, he has a confidence with the puck in the offensive zone right now. There's no question. And usually when you have that, it leaks into your confidence in the defensive zone. You make plays with the puck. But he's mishandled the puck directly on 3 goals this year. Like, that's the one part of his game that I would never be worried about, is Evan Bouchard handling the puck. So I don't even know how to explain why that's happening, right? Like, him not picking up the guy in front, sorry to tell you, I've seen that record, right? I've seen that movie, and we'll probably still see it. That's not the strength of his game. I'd love it to improve, but I don't gouge my eyes out when I see it all the time, because I'm like, I don't know if he's definitely never going to be Jason Smith. I'm just not sure he's going to get there. I thought he took strides, though, in the playoffs last year. I thought Bouchard was much more physically, emotionally engaged. So he's shown he can do it. Now, you can't do it for all 82 games, but you definitely have to do it at important times in the game. I think there's a difference on that. Was asked, is it hard for a coach to hold players accountable when you can't put anybody in the press box? You only have 11 forwards. How difficult is it?
I would say that we look at every inch of our game on a daily basis. I think, as I said, through 5 games, I thought, our play was better than what our record shows. I thought there were individual errors within games that led to losses. For example, I think in game number 5 against Winnipeg, we gave up 3 goals. 1 was a shorthanded goal. 1 was a 3-on-3 overtime goal. 1 was a goal with 1 second left on a penalty kill. It had nothing to do. We gave up 3 5-on-5 chances against in that game.
Well, you look at it and keep in mind, I like this one. Hey, Gregor, the head coach clearly talked about a system, but tell us how the coach knows less than you. Did you hear what the coach said about this system? He said it's allowed 1 goal against, which is why I said anybody wanting to blame the system isn't accurate. Go look at the goals against. Shorthanded goals don't count. 3-on-3 goals don't count. When a guy isn't covering the man in front of the net, that's not a systemic breakdown. That's a decision. He's standing right there. So if your system is, we want you to be in this position, no system says, hey, stand beside him, but don't tie him up. Unnamed texter. Not surprising you wouldn't put your name in the text. Hilarious. But that's a fact. Do you think the system, Evan Bouchard was right where he was supposed to be? He didn't cover the man. Is that a systemic issue? Ekholm didn't box out the guy in the second goal. Is that a systemic issue? No. That's the point. They're not systemic issues. Those are mental breakdowns. Players aren't doing the play that they're supposed to do. It's that simple. It's that simple. So, until the players want to commit better, like I know in Edmonton, you guys love, fire the coach, fire the coach, fire the coach, because it's simple to do. It's okay to ask the players to do their job better. They're not doing their job consistently enough. The stats don't lie. Scoring chances off the rush, getting murdered. And look at it. The Edmonton Oilers, they don't even spend that much time in the defensive zone. That's what's the Oilers are 21st in defensive zone time, where the other team is in their offensive zone. Right? 21st, which means like they've been in there the 21st least amount of times, the opposition. So it's not like Edmonton is getting hemmed in their own zone. They're like, oh my God, we're out of position. We don't know what they're doing. It's a one, they come in, boom, shoot, off a face-off goal, right? So again, goals off a face-off. Is that a defensive system? No. That might be a structured play. You lose the face-off, guy takes a point shot. If you don't cover your man in front, that's not a system. It's not doing your job. They got to be better. Way better. We'll see if it can start tomorrow. At some point, well, I shouldn't say that for sure, but if they ever want to get out of the slump, they got to turn around at some point. I don't know when that's going to be. Would I be confident against the Rangers? I'll be honest, probably not. But they could surprise me. I didn't pick them to beat Minnesota because they never beat Minnesota, but I also didn't pick them to blow it up in the fifth and give up 5 goals, 4 in an empty netter in the third period. So we'll see if they can find their game, because it clearly needs to be much, much better. There's no doubt about that. Let's get to Connor Halley in a final Sports 1440 update brought to you by Edmonton Kubota. Stop in right now. Trust me, they know the system. They're playing it well. 0% financing for 84 months on all compact BX tractors right now at Edmonton Kubota. Good night.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Just one game on the ice tonight. The Capitals and Devils midway through the first. Anthony Mantha has the Caps up 1-0. The Oilers back in action tomorrow when they take on the New York Rangers. Toronto Raptors kicking off their 2023-2024 season tonight at home, hosting the Minnesota Timberwolves with 7 minutes remaining in the first quarter. T-Wolves up 10-8. Elsewhere, the Hornets trail the Hawks 40-33 in the second. Wizards have a 49, or trail the Pacers 49-53. Celtics up on the Knicks 37-26, and it's the Magic leading the Rockets 42-30. First quarter in Brooklyn. Cavs up on the Nets 24-12. Later tonight, the Bulls host the Thunder. Pelicans in Memphis. Jazz take on the Kings. Mavericks in San Antonio, and the Clippers hosting the Portland Trailblazers. CFL teams announcing their nominees for the list of annual awards today. For the Elks, Trey Ford was MOP and the most outstanding Canadian nomination. In the AJ tonight, we've got 2 games in the vicinity. Spruce Grove hosting Camrose, and Sherwood Park taking on Bonnyville. Both those games starting at 7 o'clock. That'll do it for us here. We've got Fox Sports Radio coming up tonight at 9 o'clock, and then Carius and Douglas back in the morning, 7 a.m. with guest host Laddie Smead. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
This is Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station broadcasting on Treaty 6 territory.
Download the free iHeartRadio app and listen to CKJR wherever you